Hello, everyone. Welcome to She Code Africa International Women's Day celebration. As you all know, She Code Africa is a registered non-profit organization that aims to celebrate and empower women in tech across Africa through our women-focused initiative and programs. Join me to welcome my co-host Olamide. Hi, Olamide. How are you doing today?
Hi, Omotola. I'm good. Looking forward to the great session we're about to have. How's everybody? I see you in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in early. Welcome. So, the main aim for today, like you have to let people know about it. You shouldn't enjoy all of this alone. So, go to your social media platforms, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, tell them we have started. Take screenshots, use the hashtag SCAIWD 2022. Spread the word. You're about to have a great time.
Yeah, a quick one before we move on. For the data support, kindly check your email. We've sent out data to support our community members. If you've not seen yours, just go and check your mail. Olamide, back to you. So we want to meet our queens now.
All right. So in the comment section, tell us your name, where you're viewing from, what you do, and your expectations for this event. I can't see
Let's
you guys
meet
in the comment
you.
section yet.
Tell us your name, your location, where you're joining us from today. So I'm joining this program from Abuja, Nigeria. Olamide, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay. Please, okay, Shola,
Omotola, what do you do?
okay, I'm a community manager. Ibikito Esther from Lagos. She's a program product manager. You're welcome, Esther. How are you doing today? Hi, Tobiloba.
Hi, Umi. Welcome.
Yeah, a quick one when everybody is trying to introduce yourself. Do you want to tell us how you're feeling today? You can drop that in the comment section. Remember to use the hashtag SCAIWD 2022 and IWD 2022. Hi, Peace. How are you doing today? Peace is Johnny from Lagos, Nigeria. Olamide, can you see anyone from your end?
I see Florence from Zambia, Zainab from Lagos, Melanie from Port Harcourt. Welcome, guys.
Welcome, everyone. Hi, Toby. You're welcome.
Ahmad from Kogi State, Mary from Lagos.
You're welcome, everyone. Keep the introduction coming. We want to meet you, right? You can tell us what you expect from today's event because we have a lot of amazing speakers on board for you. We have games, we have giveaways, and so on and so forth. So tell us your expectation. What are you looking out for today? Oluwabumi, I can see you. She's joining from Ogun State, Nigeria. You want to learn a lot. Don't worry. This is the right place for you.
I see Amara from Adamawa State, Priscilla from Lagos. Welcome. Amara
Yeah.
from Yola. Adamawa, yes, same thing. Eniola from Lagos. Lillian, the researcher from Lagos. Welcome. Good to have you.
Yeah,
Get it. Don't
Olamide.
worry, we won't disappoint you. You're expecting a lot. We will not disappoint. Just stay tuned.
Yeah, we got you. I favor from Port Harcourt. Mm. Okay, Olamide. I think we should move to the next section, right?
All right, yes, we should. Welcome everyone. Um, so let's go to the next session. We are going to be hearing from Ada Oyom, who is the founder of Shecode Africa. She's going to give us the welcome to IWD speech. So in the comment section, I want you to give her a virtual standing ovation, bombard her with sweet words, a round of applause, everything you can do. Welcome, Ada.
Thank you, Lamide. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello from Lagos, Nigeria. Um, Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. my time here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm really excited to welcome every single one of you to today's International Women's Day celebration, IWD celebration, an annual celebration for us to set aside a special day to just welcome and celebrate each and every one of you who are members of our community and who just identify as women. My name is Adam Kaoyo, and I am the founder of Shikodatika, like I was aptly introduced. When I was told I was going to make a welcome presentation, I didn't have anything in mind because just like many of you, I'm here to learn. I'm here to refresh my memory. I'm here to refresh my knowledge on so many things that I know, and I'm also here to connect with as many women. I'm going to be in the comment section. I'm here to connect with as many women as I can, because as women, one thing that we need to constantly do is build our network, improve on our network to help us, that diversity, that equality that we're looking out for within the tech ecosystem. Do that if you're so this is me formally saying welcome to the 2022 celebration of International Women's Day by Sheffield Africa. Just like our hostesses have mentioned, we have so many things on the agenda packed out for you. And we're hoping that at the end of today's celebration, at the end of today's event, you would leave this conversation knowing how best to project yourself as a woman in tech, knowing how best to protect things like your mental health, knowing how best to build allies in the tech ecosystem, and in also, in general, also meeting and connecting with as many women as you can. It's my hope and it's my joy to once again welcome you to this year's event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ada. Thank you so much. That was really nice. Um, all right, thank you. So we'll be moving to the next section. We have with us today Ada Ize. Ada Ize. So she is a clinical psychologist. You are muted. Kindly unmute yourself. Our queens have been waiting to meet you, and this section is like
Okay.
so to meet you. Yeah. Thank you so much for
Hi,
joining us.
everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I'll just leave the grant for you now. Over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. We're still in the spirit of breaking the bias, International Women's Month. And I'm just so pleased to be here having this conversation with you. My name is Adeze Akuboeze. I am a clinical psychologist by profession. I work with Nguvu Health, which is let me take my glasses off because I think my it's reflecting. But I work with Nguvu Health, and Nguvu Health is a tele therapy provider. So pretty much it links you to different therapists across Africa. So pretty much connecting the therapists and the clients from across the globe. And so again, it's my pleasure to be here. Today, I'm going to be talking about anxiety, modern day anxiety, what you should know. It's a very broad topic, and so I decided not to have a slide just because I wanted it to feel like a conversation. I wanted to have this conversation from a place of relationship, like from a place where it's easy to understand what I say. So go with me as I go. So first of all, what is anxiety? We I think we use that word a lot. Like, I feel anxious, and sometimes we say something like I'm scared. And it's a way of representing how we feel from a place of concern. And today I wanted to have a better description of what anxiety is, how we can define it for ourselves, and how we can better take care of ourselves when we begin to feel that way. Okay. So anxiety can also be referred to as feeling nervous. And it's not a bad thing. Like, and that's where I wanted to start from. Like, anxiety is not a bad thing. I think over time we've come to be afraid of feeling anxious. And I want to break that with this conversation that it's okay. It's okay if we feel anxious because it's a way that our body keeps us safe. All right. And so before you come in and say, like I don't think you know how I feel. Like it's an uncomfortable feeling. I don't enjoy it. That's true. And I'll go to the point where we begin to realize how anxiety can become a disorder. But I'm separating anxiety as a feeling from anxiety as a disorder. Okay. And so when we talk about anxiety, it's a way that our body alerts us that we need to care for ourselves. Sometimes we feel anxious in the face of something new, in the face of an actual problem. And so imagine if we never felt anxious, like people will literally just cross the road without caring that they will die, right? But anxiety, what it does is it's the best way our body knows to keep us safe. So it's almost like a friend. But unfortunately, sometimes we treat anxiety as the enemy. And as the more we do that, the more we feel even more anxious. And then it begins to lead into something else. Um, so that's one thing that I wanted to say. Whenever we feel anxious, something happens, okay? And I'm not going to try to go very technical, but in the best way that I can explain, it's like our body screams danger. Like when something uncomfortable, when we're faced with something uncomfortable or something new or something different, there's a part of our brain that screams danger. This is new, right? And that part of our brain activates something called the adrenaline. So when we feel anxious, it activates that part of our brain that releases some chemicals that says, oh, you probably want to fight this or run away, right? And most times what we do is we flee from that situation. We try to run away from it. But again, when we run away from it, it's like we're telling our brain that, okay, this is probably uncomfortable. And every time we're faced with that situation, what we do is we keep running, right? And so when we feel anxious, which is some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, what are some things that we can do to make ourselves calm down, to be able to activate a different part of our brain that is called the thinking part? Because when we feel anxious, sometimes the thinking part of our brain is no longer working because we've activated the part of our brain that wants to defend us. And that probably creates more anxiety. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times where you need to run, right? Again, it's going back to when your brain is trying to keep you safe. It's like there are times when your brain releases the run, the flee, the flight hormone because maybe there's a fire, because maybe there's, an awkward stranger that's going to hurt us, right? But for today, we're not talking about the situations where we actually have to run. We're talking about the situations where we just constantly feel anxious. Maybe you're trying to learn how to swim. Maybe you just feel generally anxious when you get into your workspace. Maybe there's this colleague that just makes you tense up. Or maybe you just have an anxiety of different things, right? Um, when we think about anxiety, it's easy to think about it as just one thing. But people experience anxiety in different ways. Sometimes people have specific phobias, like you're afraid of like heights, or you're afraid of going out, or you're afraid of just being in social gatherings, or people just have generalized anxiety where there's a constant sense of like panic, right? Um, so those are different types of anxiety. So again, whenever we get to the part where you can ask questions, I would give room, for clarification. But because anxiety is such a broad area, I'm going to be very directional as far as like what I want us to take home with today. When do we know that anxiety becomes a disorder? Because here I am saying that it's a normal phenomenon, it's not a bad thing. But when do we know that anxiety is crossing the line between feeling just normally nervous and now actually having a mental issue or a mental challenge? When does anxiety cross the line of being a normal reaction to now being something that we suffer from, right? Because we all live with anxiety. Like, even if you're not anxious about heights, there's probably something that makes you anxious in life. But when do we begin to suffer from it? Because it's one thing to live with anxiety, but it's another thing to suffer from it, right? And I'll put it simply: when we begin to think about suffering, like when we can say, "Oh, I'm probably getting to the point where I'm having a disorder," is when you begin to see that anxiety is interfering with your daily experience of the world. it also becomes a disorder because it can limit your your functionality. It becomes a disorder when it's interfering with work or your social relationship, or just how much you can feel like you have control over the situation. Because again, remember that if you feel fear normally, like I'm sure sometimes people feel fear from like meeting people for the first time, but they still do it anyways. But sometimes we get to the point where we have no control anymore. Like we just feel like it's out of our control. When we can begin to feel like things are disorganized, or we are out of control, or it's now affecting the things that are really important to us, then we're looking at a situation where it could possibly become a disorder. It also leads to the point where people begin to experience things like panic attacks or even anxiety can now begin to lead to other kinds of disorders, like from being anxious, people begin to feel depressed, and so many other things, which I would not get into for now. But now that we've talked about what anxiety looks like, now that we've kind of painted a picture about what goes on in our brain when we begin to feel anxious, that it's saying, help, there's danger, what are some things that we can do to help us? What are some things that we can do? I think the first thing is that we want to slow down when we feel anxious. Again, think about the picture that I painted. When we feel anxious, there's a tendency to want to run immediately, to want to avoid the situation, or to move away from it, right? But sometimes, in order to help our anxious feeling, it's important that we slow down. And by slowing down, what we're doing is we're activating the other part of our brain that is the thinking part. Because remember, when you begin to feel anxious, sometimes the thinking part of your brain is no longer working. Sometimes it's even the irrational part of our brain that begins to work. Like, I'm probably going to die. But sometimes we know that this is not going to kill us. Like, sometimes we just know that meeting a new friend will not kill us. But the feeling almost feels so overwhelming that it almost gives us a sense of like, I've lost control. It's beyond me. I'm probably going to die. And by slowing down, rather than immediately running away from it, by slowing down, one thing that we're doing is we're activating the thinking part of our brain. Is this really a dangerous situation? And even if it was dangerous, what can I do about it? Are there solutions? Is it absolute? And thinking, the more we do it, the more we activate control. Because when you can think, you can begin to rationalize that, oh, okay, it's actually not that bad. Okay, it might take me a longer time, but I can do it. Okay, fear is not that bad. I don't need to be mad at myself for feeling anxious because I can still do it, even though I feel anxious. And the beautiful thing about doing things, even when we feel anxious, is that it gives us a sense of power. And the more powerful you feel about something, the less anxious you begin to feel about it. Okay, so I remember the first time, and this is probably a bad example because even now I'm still struggling with swimming because I've over the years I've fed myself a lot of lies about the water. Even if there's an atom of truth to it, right? Like people drown in the water, that's true, but people also are able to float on water. And over the years, I focused only on the part of my brain that says people actually drown in water. That was all I fed myself. Like, in fact, my brain did not accommodate the reality that people float. In my mind, I'm like, how are you able to float? Like, it makes no sense. And the more I fed myself this truth or this lie, or whatever you may call it, the more anxious I became, right? But one time I decided to have an honest conversation with myself to kind of accommodate all sides, right? Like people drown, but people also float. What do I choose to do with this information, right? So that's one thing that slowing down does for you. It helps you to really acknowledge what both sides look like. And when you do that, you're able to make a more rational decision as opposed to running away. Another thing that helps is breathing. I know sometimes we talk about breathing a lot, but in those gatherings, since we have a couple of people here, I'm going to give us a couple of minutes to practice breathing properly. Because again, for the longest time, especially as a teenager and a young adult, I did breathing the wrong way. Like I did like when people say, "Oh, breathing helps." You hear that a lot with mental health and therapy, and it's like, yeah, but we're all breathing. Like, what do you mean by breathing helps? Like, if I'm not breathing, I'll be dead by now. But breathing is actually an intentional act of taking time to practice what it means to feed in air and breathe out. Okay, and so there are different ways to do it, and I'm gonna like explain the way I was doing it wrongly and the way we can do it rightly. Okay, so normally, how do we breathe? We breathe in, and it's almost like our tummies are going in, and we're like, and it's almost like you're holding air, and that can give you a sense of like this doesn't feel good. Like, why do people say that breathing helps? Like, it feels so uncomfortable. It feels like I'm running out of air because what we're doing is like we're trying to trap in air, and it's like almost mimicking a panic attack. Like, what is that? And for the longest time, that's how I did it. Like, I hated it so much. Like, I'm like, why are we doing this? But the actual right way to breathe is that whenever you feed in air into your system, when you're trying to do the breathing exercise, your tummy must expand. So rather than your tummy going in like this, your tummy must expand. So you're actually feeding in air. Think about it like a balloon. So your tummy is actually like a balloon and you're trying to pump it. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna count four. So for every time we're taking in air, we're counting four. So it's like one, two, three, four. So I'm gonna do it without talking because it's almost impossible to breathe and talk. I feel. Yeah. Okay, let me do that. I'm gonna use my hands as illustration, okay? So you can join me. So we're doing four, okay? And we're treating our tummy as though it's a balloon. Okay, so we're doing, and then we're exhaling. And as you exhale, your tummy must go back to normal position because now you're taking air out of your balloon, which is your tummy. Okay, so now that I've explained, let's do it all over again. And I hope I'm not doing this alone. So maybe tell me I'm doing this with you in the comment section so that I know. But I'll give time and then let's do it. Okay. So remember when you breathe in, bring yourself to a place of peace and calm. Almost make everything around you seem like it doesn't exist, even if it does. Because again, whenever you feel anxious, your brain feels like there's problem, there's a trouble situation going on. But when you breathe, what you're doing is you're telling your brain that everything is fine. I've got this. And even if everything must not be perfectly fine because maybe you feel uncomfortable, you're still sending a signal to your brain because that's the way we were programmed. When we're created, we have this whole chemical situations going on that even if it sounds like gibberish, it is true, which explains why a woman would see her period every month. It's outside of our control. And so the more we do these things, the more we're kind of working together with our mind because our mind can kind of play trick on us. Okay. So when we do this breathing exercise, what we're doing is we're sending a signal to our brain to say, yes, I know that you're trying to keep me safe, but look, I'm breathing fine. Because when we feel anxious, we begin to breathe quickly. It's like, like what's going on? But when we try to intentionally breathe slowly, we're sending a signal to our brain to say, hey, I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. Okay. So let's try to breathe. And I hope that you do this with a sense of peace and love and kindness for yourself. Okay. So let's try. Again, you're blowing air into your tummy like a balloon. And when it's time to exhale, you're taking off air from your balloon and we're doing 4 each. Okay. So let's go. Yay, thank you. Thank you, little me. Yeah, you're telling me that you're doing this with me. So yeah, like I hope that I've helped to kind of explain how we do breathing differently. I absolutely love breathing. Thank you, Cynthia. Yes, people are doing this with us. This is something you can keep doing, okay? Like I love the breathing exercise because more than anything, you always have your breath with you. Wherever you go, you always have your breath with you, which is a gift that we've been given, the gift of breath, the gift to be able to take in air and breathe out the negative one. And sometimes what I do to myself is I tell myself, I'm breathing in peace and I'm breathing out my anxiety. Okay, I'm breathing out bad air and negativity. And it really helps because wherever you go, you're never going to run out of breath. It's something you would always have for conversations like this, we might never have it all the time. You might never be able to run to YouTube all the time to say, hey, like, let's do guided medication or meditation. However, with your breath, if you're able to practice breathing properly, it's something you would always have forever. Okay. Um, Another thing that really helps us when we're thinking of anxiety is therapy. Okay, remember that I talked about all of those great things that you can do and how you can kind of understand your feeling of anxiety. But sometimes we've learned to cope with anxiety the wrong way all our lives. Okay, sometimes we've learned bad coping mechanisms because, again, things help us cope. They could help us cope. However, we've never really taken time to think about it. Like, is that a good way to cope or a bad way to cope, right? We just call it coping. And over time, we've kind of treated coping as though it's a positive thing. Like, I'm coping, I'm managing. However, are you managing the right way? Are you coping the right way? One beautiful thing that therapy does, which I really hope that everyone here knows, but if you don't, it's okay because I'm here to tell you all over again, is that in therapy, you can learn good coping skills. Okay. So here, we're not just coping, we're learning how to cope the right way. I've kind of heard, like, I've seen clients who come in and they're anxious. And when you check, it's like, oh, maybe my mom was an anxious person. Maybe my dad was an anxious person. And over the years, you've kind of seen people manage anxiety the wrong way. And in therapy, you can learn to stop bleeding. Okay. So that when we have our own kids, we're not bleeding into them. We're not bleeding into our relationships. We're not bleeding into our work environment. Like, we learn to stop bleeding. And one way to do that is to go into therapy. Thankfully, I mentioned the Google again, but again, I'm mentioning that because I found that a lot of people struggle with, like, where can I meet a therapist? Okay, I have 2 more minutes. Where can I see a therapist? How can I engage in therapy? Is it safe? Am I assured of privacy? I would say that on the app we make use of people who are licensed professionals, clinical psychologists with a master's degree, and we take confidentiality really seriously. And so, because we don't have so much more time, I just hope that I've left you with something. Breathing exercises, understanding what anxiety really is, so that we're not so anxious about it. Knowing that whenever we feel anxious, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Our bodies are just trying to keep us safe. And it's now for us to really understand how to activate the thinking brain and say, is this situation really a fearful one? And what can I do about it? And also therapy. Um, Thank you, Masala. I don't know if we're going to accommodate question at this point or later on, but that's what I have for today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adeze. I think I personally have learned a lot, and from the comments I can see that a lot of people have gained a lot from your section. We really appreciate. And to the audience, if
Yeah.
you can check, I've just dropped the link on the comment section. You can read more about this section, and you can download the app so you can get yeah. So you can do free testing on anxiety, right? Thank you so much. And also to add, if you are SCA member, this is an opportunity for you because they partner with our community to give our community members free information section, discounts on mental health support services, and so on and so forth. So we are going to be having more of this section just for SCA community members. That's the benefit of partnership, and we are really glad to have you on board on this. So don't worry, you're going to have more of Adese and other specialist section via the community. Thank you so much, Adese. And if you have
Thank
any
you.
other, yeah, if there's any question, you can just join the virtual, like you can just reply via comment.
Okay, awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. All right.
thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adeze. And we'll move to the next section now. And to the next section, we are going to have Ada come back to tell us something interesting. So Ada is going to be telling us about Oscar Fest. So the title of the next section is Let's Talk About Oscar Fest. So we all know that Oscar Fest is the largest festival for open source in Africa. And I'm not going to dive more into that. I will leave it for Ada. We know Ada is a co-founder of this organization. So I'm going to bring up Ada now to tell us more about this. Hi, Ada. It's good to.
Hi. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so very quickly about Oscar Fest. For those of you who don't know, aside what I do at Chicken Africa, I also do a couple of things behind the scenes at Oscar. That's Oscar Community, Open Source Community Africa. I'm one of the co-founders, and just a little bit of info to what the Oscar Fest is about. Some of you might have been hearing it on probably Tech Twitter. First of all, Oscar Fest is the headline event of the Open Source Community Africa. And if you're not aware of the Open Source Community Africa, it's a community that we founded for African developers, designers, literally anybody who's interested in open source, technical writers, etc. Anybody who's interested in open source, contributing to open source, and even going further to pick up a career in open source. So we created a community to bring together lovers of open source, experts, and those who are just getting in. And the Oscar Fest event, like I mentioned, is the headline event where every year it's an annual event where every year we bring together all of those community members, as many as we can get together, be it physically or virtually. Luckily for us, we've been able to run the first one physically, and this is the second one. Unfortunately, we were not able to run one the last year because of COVID. So this year we're putting in as much effort as possible to make sure that it's a hit, even more than the first one. It's going to be happening on the 24th to 26th, 24th, 5th, and 25th and 26th. That's a 3-day event where Thursday event would start with the workshops for the festival workshop. So if you're interested in any of the festival activities, they would drop a link for you to look at the schedule if you've gotten a ticket. I know that SCA would also be giving out tickets to a specific number of people from the community as well. On the 25th would also be the day one of the main event. So 2 days of the actual event and then 1 day of workshop. That's Thursday. So Friday and Saturday, we're expecting to see as many open source enthusiasts, developers, experts come together at Zone Tech Park in Bagada, Lagos. And we are also hoping within SCA to see as many of you at ZTP from Thursday to Friday. Thank you, Amotola.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adaize. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much.
Ata.
To end. So thank you so much, Ada. That was really nice. Olamide, how are you doing?
I'm good.
So what do you have
Um,
for us?
okay, so we've heard it all from Ada about Oscar Fest. If you want to meet Ada or people from the SCA core team, this is your chance.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So see you at the festival next week. Just a very short thing before we go on. This event we're having won't be possible without our great sponsors. And this year we have Laser Pay as a bronze sponsor. Without them, you won't be having all this ginger, lemonade, whatever that we're having today. So we are going to take a Twitter break now to give a special shout out to LaserPay for sponsoring She Code Africa IWD 2022. So you go to Twitter, give them a shout out, say thank you for sponsoring and providing all of this. Use the hashtags SCAXLaserPay. It will be displayed on the screen soon, and SCA IWD 2022. I want to see you guys on Twitter. I'm going there now. I can't see any tweets yet. Omotola, have you seen any tweets? Because I haven't.
I'm checking on my end. Let's go on Twitter. Let's give shout out to our sponsor because without them we cannot see all this, right? It won't be as interesting as this. Okay, I'm going to drop their tags on the comments. Just hold on. Yeah. Remember to use the hashtag SCAIWD. So it's simply Lassa Play. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Twitter break, Twitter break, Twitter break. Yeah, I can see, and I would like to add that we have something really nice for the most active, participant for today's event. Is that right, Lamide?
Yes, we do. I can see Favor on Twitter. Thank you. Thank you for tweeting. I'm waiting for more people. Omotola,
So,
I can't see your tweets yet.
okay, so you're not just tweeting, you stand a chance to win something at the end of this event. So look out for that. So while that is going on, we are still doing Twitter break, right? Olamide, the hashtag.
Yes.
Okay. The hashtag
Hashtag
is
SCAIWD 2022 and hashtag SCAX LaserPay.
yeah. Okay. Now you have it. You can also see it, right?
Yeah, it's
Let's
displayed on
see.
the screen.
Mm-hmm. So while that is going on, I we put out a call for who wants to guess our keynote speaker. So our keynote speaker is someone. Yeah, I know you all know it now. So there's no need. There's no need of saying that again. So the next section is actually for our keynote speaker. Yeah. Okay. So I think the Twitter break is off now. It's time to welcome our keynote speaker. Thank you so much, Olamide. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone that tweeted. Thank you. So let's welcome our keynote speaker. She's a well-known SCA ambassador, a queen who has supported us in several ways. She's an author and she's an award-winning engineer, a software engineer. Join me to welcome Adora Unwodo. Please let's drop our favorite emoji in the comment section so that I can bring our keynote speaker up. Yeah, so she's going to start a video now.
I will be talking about bias in tech and how it plays out. But before we get right into that, I want to tell you my two unconscious bias stories. These two things happened to me. The first one, both happened when I was in the university actually. So the first one happened, I was working with someone that was, in a level above me. And we're just talking, gisting, and like we're walking to class together. And then I go, oh, something, something, something. I want to actually try my best to get a 4.8 CGPA this semester so that my first class can bump up a bit. And he goes, oh, really? You're only first class? That's weird. You're too pretty to be on a first class. In his head, somehow, a part of me wants to believe that he actually thought that that was a compliment, but apparently and unfortunately, it wasn't. And this bias, probably unconscious, maybe even conscious, I don't know, but this bias stems from stereotyping, and that's one of the things that I will be talking about today. The second bias, the second story that I have was still in school, on the day of my graduation, I was really dolled up. Like, I had the whole blonde hair thing going on. I wore a really, nice dress. My heels were so high, my nails were really long. I did like, professional makeup, had like eyelashes and all of that. Like, I was really glammed up, and I carried a bouquet to my graduation. Apparently not too many people carry bouquets to their graduation in Nigerian universities, but I did because I was excited, and I had seen a bunch of my friends in the UK graduate and carry bouquets during their graduation, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the same thing because why not? And then I do that, walk into the auditorium. At that point, I already can see signs, and I know that the people that are first class graduates should move forward because that's where we would sit. I go to the front, and one of the female ushers stopped me, like, sis, please, can you be going to the back? You're not supposed to be here. And I'm like, oh, why am I not supposed to be here? And she says, oh, this is for first class graduates only. And I look at her for a long time, like maybe 3 seconds, and I go, what makes you think I'm not? And I guess maybe with the seriousness in my face and how I looked and how disappointed I was already looking, she could tell that maybe she had messed up or something. And then she begins to apologize. The reason I'm sharing bias stories from 2 different genders is for us to understand that this thing has eaten so deep into us that it's not necessarily one type of person or one gender or one demographic having the bias and being a certain type of way. It happens, and unfortunately, it happened to me. It wasn't a case of me losing an opportunity or anything, but bias is bias, regardless of what form it comes in. And now I would go into the actual talk, which is how it plays out in tech. But before we get right into that, I would want to quickly introduce myself. Hi, my name is Adora, and I am a software engineer currently working at Microsoft Mesh. I'm currently building mixed reality on the cloud. I am an author and a digital creator. It's like I live on Twitter. I spend a lot of my time there. If you want to find me there, you can find me at Adora Wodo. The handle is on the screen. So now I'm going to start by giving a formal definition of bias, of that word. And it is inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to be unfair. And like I said when I gave my own story, right, I was lucky that this bias in this case didn't cost me anything, wasn't unfair, didn't cost me a job. But we've seen cases where people did not get hired because they looked a certain type of way. Somebody will tell you, oh, you wear anklets, so I have a feeling you would probably be a prostitute, and I don't want these kinds of people in my organizations. People say weird things like that and build up, things in their head and have these crazy stereotypes. And unfortunately, they are unfair to people on the receiving end of these biases. And I guess that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about today. And you can be prejudged for different kinds of things. It could be the whole gender thing. There's a bias. Oh, men are this, women are this. Men do this, women do this. I'm not saying men and women are the same because, we're wired differently, and that's fine. But when you expect certain privileges to be given to one gender and then to not be given to another gender, or you expect some certain kind of results from one person or not the other person, or you just assume that because this person is a man or because this person is a woman, they can or cannot do something. It's unfortunate, and that's one of those things. Ethnicity as well. We hear these things a lot, especially we Nigerians, where it's a case of, oh, you are, let me even give you the very common ones, wicked Igbo woman and Yoruba demon. And all of us are victims of this. somewhere in our subconscious, even if we do say it as a joke, for a lot of people, it's not. And they've written off, potential romantic partners, potential business partners, because of biases like this. And the truth is, when you have these biases that seem to be unfair, they don't only affect the person on the receiving end of that bias. Sometimes they affect you because you end up losing on amazing people. You end up losing value that you would have gotten because of something that clearly doesn't make any sense. The next thing I want to talk about is your race. Are you Asian? Are you African? Are you American? Are you, these things, I don't even want to get started on them because we know these things. Nationalism as well, kind of like, this thing that happens where every Nigerian visiting other African countries, first of all, there's a very high chance that you are going to be delayed at the airport for a long time because they feel like you're a criminal, because they've prejudged you based on your passports, based on your nationality. There's when you think about it, there's a backup story. Kiniko, Nigerians have done this in the past, but let's be honest, Nigeria is not the only country that has a very high rate of, fraudulent people and stuff. But somehow we suffer this a lot. It's unfortunate. There's also the age thing. There's also the thing of your looks. So if you look a certain type of way, if you are a girl that cuts your hair and you dyed it pink or yellow and you live in Lekki, somebody will look at you as there's a chance that this person is a prostitute and she's looking for whatever. Your socioeconomic background, especially when you're trying to get a seat at the table, your socioeconomic background and your educational background, these biases, play off in these certain scenarios. Unfortunate but true. Now, there are two buckets, or there are two kinds of biases, right? And I will be talking about these two biases. The first one is conscious bias. And conscious bias is sometimes known as explicit bias. And it is that type of bias that you are aware of. The bias happens consciously, in that you are being biased and you are acting with that intent of actually being biased. And anyone with conscious bias is likely to be explicit with their beliefs and attitudes, and you behave with clear intent. So it's not a case of, I didn't realize, I was oblivious to this, it was a mistake, because you actually knew what you were doing. Conscious bias is usually characterized by negative behavior such as physical or verbal harassment, and it can also manifest as exclusionary behavior, unfortunately. Conscious biases are prejudices, so that is where you will be prejudged for something a lot of times without you even knowing it. You will be discriminated, like somebody or a group of people will be discriminated for something that doesn't even make sense a lot of times. And this is the malicious one. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on conscious bias, because if you are consciously biased, you know what you are doing and you choose to do it anyway. So what I would just say is that whether you are here as a man or as a woman ally, or as someone that just wanted to join an event, whatever you are, look inwards and check those conscious biases. And if you have them, I think the first question you need to ask yourself is why? Really? The next thing I want to talk about is unconscious bias. So it's also known as implicit bias, and it's very different from conscious bias for several reasons. Everyone has unconscious bias, and I think this is one of the reasons why I actually appreciate organizations that take unconscious bias trainings, because it really takes effort to not let those biases, come into your life and affect, the way you live or the way you do your work and stuff like that. Unconscious biases are beliefs and attitudes that actually operates outside of someone's awareness and control, and they can be in direct contrast with the values that you actually think that you hold. So you may not even be aware that you are holding these biases, or that they are affecting your attitudes, your behaviors, your interactions with people, and even your work. You might not know. These biases are usually difficult to identify, and they might influence your actions and behaviors more than these conscious biases. And what's dangerous about it is that you have unconscious bias and you don't even realize it, right? It involves no malicious intent. You do not want to do anything, because you do not like this person or because of this weird worldview that you have and blah, blah, blah. You may be unaware of your bias and the effects that it is having on things that you directly, things, people, work, stuff that you directly, interact with. That's mostly it. And there are different kinds of unconscious biases. There's the affinity bias, which is when you have a preference of people who look like you or have similar qualities to you, so you just have an affinity for these kinds of person. And this bias is not necessarily toxic in any way, but it's important to point it out so that you know that this thing exists. The next thing is ageism, people discriminating you based on your age. So if you maybe are above a certain age, they'll feel like, oh, you should not be doing this kind of work anymore. And even if there is a chance that you are still good at that work, and it's not even like you're getting old to retirement yet, they will tend to favor somebody else than favor you because you are, in quotes, getting old. There's also the beauty bias. There's also that, it's called pretty privilege in this part of the world. Fine people, deserve better, they should be more successful, and they should be more because they are fine, they should be more successful than everybody, and they should get every single thing they want. You are judging somebody's whole life just based on what they look like or what society has conditioned beauty or fineness, to be. Their whole character. You don't even know if the person is going to be a nasty person. You don't even know in the context of work if the person can actually do their work. But just because they are pretty, Another one is, gender bias, which refers to a preference for one gender over the other. Gender bias is usually a result of an individual's ingrained beliefs about, gender roles and stereotypes. This gender should do this gender should do that. Everyone is rigid. Nobody wants to try to be flexible. And we've just assigned, these biases, and we're running with it. The last one I want to talk about is conformity bias. When your views are influenced and can be changed by others, maybe relating to peer pressure, or you wanting to seek acceptance, or you seeing yourself, in quotes, in somebody and trying to act similar to them, regardless of your own beliefs, your own worldview, and things like that. I mean, these are kinds of unconscious biases that, shape the way we think and shape the way we address, society. Now, going into bias in tech, right? Bias in tech actually affects how we see our colleagues, how we build applications that are supposed to make global impact. And this is funny because you have a certain type of bias towards maybe a particular thing, and then you are in a scenario where you need context for that thing to go build, but somehow your bias is affecting you and how you want to build. And I'm just going to give 3 random examples for bias in tech, and I'll start with random number generation. There's an article that I read as far back as when I was in uni, when I was in the university, around that time when you're doing final year projects and you have to read a bunch of things. And then I realized that there was actually a random number generation algorithm bias. What this means is that random number generation is not so random. It can be influenced by anything. It might be influenced by a seed, the algorithm, it might be influenced by the way the algorithm was written and things like that. And this can actually this is a disadvantage in the sense that it can create a security problem. Because if somebody is able to properly sit down and study and find the pattern, because if it's random number generation, it should totally be random, right? But yet, there are cases when these things are not random because of that bias. And once people sit down and take time to actually understand what is driving this pseudo-random number generation, because that's actually what it is. It's called pseudo-random number generation because it's not as indeterministic or random as we think. Unfortunately, there is something there. And once people are able to figure out what that something is, what tends to happen is that people can actually try to replicate that, and that's a security problem because then they can get into your systems. The next thing is artificial intelligence. I know that over the years it has gotten better, but I know that over the years it has gotten better with AI research and people actually fighting the good fight and things like that. But from things like, speech recognition to, eye calibration to facial recognition and different things, initially a whole demographic was left behind or was left out in the building of this feature. So now, if you are claiming to be a company that is trying to work to build global impact, are you now trying to say that these demographics that you have ignored in building your AI solution is not on the globe? They don't exist on Earth. You and your other friends and other people that look like you are the only ones that exist. I know that, bias in the AI space has gotten better over the years, but it's still there, and this is one of the reasons why we should give AI researchers their flowers, the good ones. We should give them their flowers while we still can, because, like I said, they are fighting the good fights. Also, bias in web development is the reason why there are a lot, in my opinion, right? Bias in web development is the reason why there are a lot of web accessibility conferences today, because it's like everyone just saw a conclusion and decided to jump into it. No, everybody just assumed, a lot of us, right, just assumed that certain people wouldn't need to use websites, or certain people that need to use websites don't need to have these kinds of experience. And then when we're building, initially for a long time, we're not necessarily thinking about them, right? And the funny thing is, a lot of all these things that I've mentioned are ways for unconscious bias to show up. Conscious bias is something like a girl walks into my office, I see her wearing a skirt that is above her knee, and I just assume that she's not going to pass this interview. And even when she does, I'm going to be malicious to not give her the job because I don't like how she's dressed. And me and my husband run this company. I don't want small girls in short skirts to come and start, giggling and kicking with my husband when I'm not there. That's a bias, and it's a conscious bias. But these three things that I've mentioned, random numbers, AI, and how it affects web dev, these are unconscious. And I'm very excited about seeing people try to move away from, these biases. And now, let's talk about how they affect us. They affect us in business. They affect us in HR. They affect the products that we're building. So let me talk about the business perspective. Because we were not paying attention to accessibility when it comes to tech in the past, guess what happened? Like I said, bias affects two people, right? The person especially unconscious bias, the person on the receiving end of the bias and the person that doesn't even know that they have that bias. Now, on the receiving end of the bias, they're not able to use that technology, right? What this means for the business is that they don't have access to a huge customer base that they would have had access to if they just did not have that bias. And that's an important thing to think about. I'm going to give an example for each. The next one is HR. Bias in HR. Oh, okay, these people are a certain type of way. I'm not going to hire this person because I just did a virtual interview with them and they have dreads and I'm not really a fan of people that have dreadlocks. Or I saw a guy walk into this office and he was wearing an anklet. Why would boys be wearing anklets? And because of these very little things that have nothing to do with whether or not these people can or cannot do their jobs, you tend to miss out on amazing talent. The third thing is bias in building the product. And this particular bias is sort of, let me use the same example as I used, in the first time, when the third thing is bias in building the product. And what this means is that you can't necessarily say that you are building a product that is making impact in the world if, because of your certain biases, you haven't catered to some demographic. And that's an important thing to think about. I mean, and I'm not trying to say that there aren't real challenges when building products. Sometimes entering a certain market is difficult. And I'm not talking about entering a certain market, trying to open shop in a certain region and trying to start operations there. So because of that, you don't have something for these people. I'm talking about bias in the product. Let's go back to, speech recognition, for example. You don't have to enter the South African market to actually properly do speech recognition for a South African accent. Because South Africans are everywhere beyond South Africa. Nigerians are everywhere beyond Nigeria. Kenyans are everywhere beyond Kenya. And I'm using these countries because these are countries with like strong accents as well, right? Which are very different from other accents in other parts of the world. Indians as well have their own strong accents. You don't need to be in these countries or in these markets to properly do speech recognition for these people. You don't need. So that's exactly what I mean when I talk about bias in the product. I understand that, setting up and building a particular Nigerian version of, like let's say Spotify coming to Nigeria, Netflix coming to Nigeria. All these things are always different because, it requires, it's beyond just building the products, and now it's now conversations on setting up an office or not setting up an office, and that's not what this is about. But I just really also wanted to say this. And now my next question is, can we do anything about these biases? We can, especially the ones that we know have negative effects on us. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to say we would always have biases, but we're human beings that have different worldviews and are very different people. So a bunch of things would clash. But I think it's always good for these things to clash respectfully and for us to understand that there is a chance that we can, have these issues and have these biases and try not to now let that influence decisions in the wrong way. So yeah, can we do anything about it? The first thing I want to say is that underrepresented communities need more allies. It's very important. So if you are here and you know that you can support women in any way, please never, don't fail to try whenever you have the chance to. Because we all need this support. And the truth is, as the community grows, we all grow, the economy grows with it, and our lives are better. And it's funny how they've done a bunch of research about these things, but yet somehow we're still here. Funny and unfortunate anyway. And also in business, there's this thing about women doing many boot camps and not really giving any money. Yes, I know it's great. Advise us so that we can learn. Help us so that we can be better. But when you are done giving us advice, give us money too. Right? And up until recently, that wasn't something that really was happening. And that's a problem, right? So I feel it's something that is worth mentioning. I also think that more organizations should do unconscious bias trainings for their employees, new employees, existing employees, possibly even make it a periodic thing. So there's a cadence, maybe every year you retake the training, or there is a new part of the training that you have to, take. And also better representation across, board. Because if we're thinking about global impact, then we also need that global representation. This is something that I feel is very important. Will we ever actually achieve a bias-free future? If I'm being very honest, I don't think we can achieve a bias-free future, but I think we can achieve a future with mutual respect where everyone is allowed to bring their authentic selves. And how do we do that? By talking less about these problems and actually going out to do the work to solve these problems. Once again, happy International Women's Month, and thank you so much for joining my session.
Thank you so much, Adora. And I can see her in the comments. If you have any question, you can drop. She's there to, and you can keep sharing your experience. And just like she said, bias is bias. There is no, let's just say bias is bias. And there are a lot of bias out there that women face, especially in tech. A lot. We can see the comment section, people are dropping their experience. Like, it's just too much. And what can we do going forward? I think it's a collective effort, just like she said. And let's just have mutual respect for each other, respect one another. Don't judge easily. Get to know the other person. Thank you so much. Let's keep the conversation going on. Olamide, how are you doing on your end?
Hi, I'm good. That was such a good session.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we should do a little bit of games. All work and no play, all learning and no play. So we want to know how everyone is doing in the comments, what you feel about this. Olamide, can you please share your screen?
All right.
So we want to know how you're feeling about this event. Are you feeling yourself? Like, is your moral high? Are you getting your expectations already? Okay. So let's use Olamide, you can go on.
All right. So, hi everyone. The first icebreaker we're going to be having is okay. So you go to slido.com. It's on the screen, slido.com, and then you join a session using the code 359878. Let me know if that works on your end in the comment section. Slido, slido.com. The code is 359878. Okay, I can already see responses. Using
Yeah.
one word, express how you feel about SAIWD 2022. I see amazing, I see excited, I see blessed. Hallelujah. I see happy and enlightened, I see buzzed, I see amazing. I need more responses. Let's fill up this tab. I see engaging. Yes, happy to be doing that. I see he elated. Yeah. I see safe. Oh, that's so awesome. I think the entire, aim of this event is to make you feel seen and safe. Like we can relate. I see motivated. I see greaty. Oh, I see home. I see educating. Yes, that's the aim. I see emotional. Oh. I see fantastic. Yes. I see someone says she's loving it. Um Someone says she feels heard or he feels heard. Okay, she feels heard. I see opportunity. Um Let me see. I see love. Yeah, that's I see I see inspirational. Hmm. Yeah, so in case you haven't joined, the details are on the screen. sli.do, sli.do, slido.com, sorry, slido.com, then the code 359878 to join this conversation that we're having. Someone says she can't see my screen in the comment section. Can you see my screen, Omotola? Okay, awesome. I see eye-opening and engaging. I see wonderful. I see challenged. Yes, you should be challenged to break the bias. That's the aim. I see great and buzzed. I see community. Hmm. I
Okay,
see
let's see
uplifting.
if everyone can see your screen. Please, if you can see Olamide's screen, let's okay, Elizabeth, thank you. Yeah, Olamide, we are good. Everyone can see your screen.
Okay, awesome. We need more responses so we can move on to the next. Okay, Omotola. Omotola
Yeah.
has already displayed the code on the screen. Someone is asking for it. It is 359878.
So I'll just drop it in the comments now.
in the
I've done
comments.
that.
All right.
Yeah. So someone said it's educating. Oh, that's good. That's good. So we have a little game here. Olamide, should we move to the next game or we should keep it?
Yes, please.
One? We should. Okay. Um. All right. Let's do this. So okay, I'm just going to. We are going to use the same code, which is 359878.
Don't forget to take screenshots, share on Twitter, use the hashtag, Instagram.
Yeah. So
Let
the
more
next
people join the
game.
conversation.
Yeah. So the next game, we are going to be asking a question, and you can reply, and you stand a chance to win something. Myself and Olamide will take note of that. Are we ready to go? So we are using the same code, and we'll start now. Olamide, over to you.
Okay, so the first question says, how many partnerships did we announce this week? So if you're a regular fan of She Code Africa, you would know this. I see there are more responses saying 2, 3. Someone has changed. Ah, wow. Wow. Everybody says it's 2. Who knows? Someone says 4, 5. Okay. I think we should be moving on to the next question soon.
So this particular one is a pool actually. So the next game will have where people can drop. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Omega is asking, what are we doing? Oh, we are like having an icebreaker session. We're playing games. We had one, word cloud, and this is just a multiple choice question. All right. So I think we can move on. Omotala, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So I'll just go back. I'll go back to the game. So while that is going on, kindly note that the next section, Olamide, do you want to tell us what the next section is?
Okay, so after this, we'll be having a panel session. So this session is one that I have particularly looked forward to because it's a topic that's very dear to my heart. So recently we celebrated the International Women's Day, and in fact, I am impressed that impressed at how far we have come compared to years ago. People are boldly using their social media outlets, both individuals and corporate bodies, to campaign for women's rights, and that's awesome. However, we want to do beyond trending the hashtags. So we are going to be having a panel session that focuses on accelerating equality for all. So we have 3 panelists today. The first panelist is Oluwadamilola Shoyombo. Dami is the founder of Skooks. It's an e-learning platform that focuses on providing African children with access to technology and creative courses at a young age. In today's session, she'll be talking about challenging the gender bias as a woman in tech. Welcome, Dami. So just before I go on, let me introduce the remaining panelists, then we can start. The next panelist is Iniobong Udo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I did not. Iniobong is a Google certified Android developer and user experience expert, a digital skills advocate, and the founder of Tech Skills Hack. Today, her focus is going to be on identifying and overcoming leadership bias. Finally, meet Aniedi Udo. He's a program manager and the current regional lead of Google Developer Groups and Google Developer Students Club for Sub-Saharan Africa. He's passionate about early stage startups and the people we refer to as newbies. He speaks regularly online, and today he's going to be speaking on how leadership plays a role in technology. So the role of men in technology. Hi Dami, hi Anedi, hi Neobong.
Hi, Lamde.
It's
Hi,
nice to meet
Lamide.
you.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi,
How are
Nede.
you
Hello.
doing?
I'm doing great. It's
Okay,
nice
I
to be
can't
here.
hear from Neobong yet. Are you here with us?
I think she's muted. In your
Yeah.
bunk.
Okay, so let's just go on.
Hello.
Let's just go on. I'm sure she'll join us on the way. Inyobong, are you here now?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was muted.
It's
It's good
fine.
to
It's fine.
see Eniedi. It's good to see Soyombo and Olamide. Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Hello, Eniedi. It's good to see you
Hi,
again after
Amy.
a long time.
Hi, Dami.
Welcome. Welcome everyone. So okay, so the hashtag break the bias is it's a good way to show that, we recognize that there is a bias and we know that we want to break it. So we know that actions need to be taken. However, beyond just trending the hashtags, we want to know exactly how we can do this breaking the bias thing, the practical steps to take. So the aim of this event is to accelerate equality for all, to bridge the gap, the gender gap in the tech space. And I believe that you're going to do justice to this topic. So, Dami, I'm going to be starting with you. Hello. Okay. So we believe that one of the ways to break a bias, like we said, is to recognize that it exists. So what are some biases that women in tech face, or biases that exist for women in tech that you have seen, heard, witnessed, or whatever? And as this is going on, if you're in the comment section, you can also, if you've experienced any bias as a woman in tech, you can also drop your experiences. Dabby, over to you.
All right, thank you for that question, Namde. So, basically, women who work in tech, they remain underrepresented and, like say, underpaid generally, from the statistics that we keep saying, right? And when we talk about in terms of pay right now and compensation, like we see male applicants being rated more significantly than their fellow female counterparts, right? Even though the female might be more qualified or same qualification level as male, we see the trend of male getting paid higher starting salary or given more opportunities for career growth, right? For example, myself, I would say there's some opportunities that I have lost because I was a woman in tech, right? That same opportunity was gladly given to a male, that same field, same qualification, and the likes, right? And I've also been exposed to times whereby I had a lower salary compared to a guy being on the same role. So that's like a common trend and a common bias that keeps happening. Another thing I'll talk about is when it comes to leadership positions as well. Male individuals would be gladly given, okay, lead of products or lead of engineering, CTO and all. Like there are great women software developers out there. Why can't more females be given the position of a CTO, right? So those are some of the biases that are out there. There are a lot of them as well. So we can mention them in the comment section.
Thank you, Dami. You've heard from Dami. We'll need you to mention your experiences, your bias experiences in the comments section. In your bong, your question is quite similar to Dami's own, but given your topic, there's just a little bit tweak on it. So there's a tendency for leaders to be influenced by certain perspectives they hold, maybe their backgrounds, their past experiences, or how they grew up, basically. So what are the ways that some leadership bias shows up, and how can it be identified?
Okay, this is a very important question, being that last month we just finished the training, and being that I was the leader, we had a partnership with the Yoruba Tennis Club to train 100 Lagosians youth in Lagos. So I called out for volunteers, and there was this lady who indicated interest, okay, that she would love to volunteer with us, but that she's a Muslim and that she uses hijab. And okay, if I needed someone like that, so I knew that there was a bias about, okay, oh, this is a working environment, there are certain things you need to weigh, there are certain things you need to use. So I just told her, oh yes, that she's invited, that we need her, that she can come the way she is, that she can come the way she is. So I think first of all, for us to solve the issue of bias, especially in the tech ecosystem, we need to identify and we need to understand that biases exist for us to be able to fight it or curb it. So that's one thing I got to work on. So I was like, oh, you can come. And then when she came, we had a media session where some guys came in from publishing organization, and she was like, oh, sorry, that she can't be in the picture, that her religion, I don't know the particular sect she belongs to, that being that she's a single lady, that she can't join the picture. I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't have to force her. I just believe, okay, that's who she is. And being a leader, most times we have, oh, it's my organization. I'm the one making the rules here. So you need to do what I want you to do. So if you can't do it, then you can leave. But most times we should put ourselves in those people's shoes, not because we are leaders, but okay, oh, how am I going to relate? Or will I like it this way if someone treat me like this? So we need to put ourselves in the shoes of these people and also advocate for them and also accept them without judging them based on what we believe or how we've been conditioned to judge them. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much, in your bank. That was a good one. That was a good one. Um, Anieze, hi. Okay, so statistics show that in tech generally, the percentage of roles held by women are about 28.8%, and that's such a low number compared to the male counterpart. And while we want to, say women should speak up for themselves and all of that, we believe that we can't do it alone. So, what do you think is the importance of allyship in the gender equality movement?
Okay, that's a it's a very staggering statistic, and I think there are a number of issues that are contributing to this problem in the technology space. One of the things that is always very people blame, or people sort of throw back the problem on women, is that women don't apply for roles. They feel that if they're not completely qualified, or if they feel they're not inherently um, accepted, they're not even going to turn up. And then so usually people say, yeah, but we put out an application, we didn't put gender specific kind of restrictions, but 80 men applied and only 20 women applied. And then sometimes when you analyze some of these applications, or when people stand up for roles, the other thing that you notice is that they would say if a woman is not 100 or 150% or even 200% qualified, she's not going to apply. But then you find out that men, whether they're 10% or 15% qualified, they would then go ahead and then apply for the role. But it's not just saying not enough women are applying, or there are not enough women in technology. I feel that a lot of other things within the whole career space that affect this gender balance. So we've talked about one thing, raising up your hand, identifying yourself, being confident enough, being strong enough to just kind of like challenge or break the bias and put yourself out there for the role. But honestly, that's not enough. In the career of any technology person, especially in a woman, there's other things that contribute to whether or not you would see more women in roles, or you would see more women in leadership. And I'll share a few from what I'll say from the inside. The first one is yes, being applying and being considered for a role, but then when you get into a role, it's feel like you are included in that role. So if a woman joins a team and okay, maybe you're the first woman in a team of 5 engineers or 5 tech people, if it's not an inclusive environment for that woman, then two things are going to happen. One, she's either going to try to jump out of the role, which then skews the statistics backwards. So if you had 4 people and that was 100% men dominated team, and then one person joins the team, right? It now becomes 20% women and 80% men. Now, if the woman is not included or she's not comfortable in that role, and then she steps out of the role, then what you now have is you've gone backwards. You've gone back to 100%. So if inclusion is not by default part of the team, part of the team's culture, part of the team's training, then you're never going to fix that. You find one woman comes and then one woman goes. One woman comes and one woman goes. So you're never going to break that sort of 20% threshold. Um, so it is up to the other 4 people on the team to create that inclusive environment for the woman to stay there. Because once another woman comes and another woman comes, by the time the third person has come on the team, you're getting closer to the 60-40, 50-50 kind of balance. But if there's no inclusion on the team, you're never going to fix that. So when women join the tech workforce or when they come into teams or into companies, it is the role of the people on that team to provide an inclusive environment. So inclusion is sort of like the first thing. The next thing you talk about people is progression, right? If I join a team or I join a company and it feels like I'm not getting promoted, I'm not being offered leadership positions, then I'm also going to leave, right? So where you have pioneering women, the first set of women in technology breaking into the workforce, and then they come and they're either not included, in which case retention drops, or they're not progressing, they're not being promoted, they're not being considered, and even the conscious and unconscious biases, Adora talked about. If we don't tackle those issues, then definitely you're never going to solve the gender problem, right? So I think it goes beyond bringing more women into tech. When you have women on the team, when women retain, when they stay on the job, when women feel included on the team, then it drives representation. When you see someone in a role, see someone in a situation, and it becomes believable to you. For instance, I give a clear example of even myself. When I first got introduced to, in quote, Google, I saw a Google employee. Literally all the Google employees I saw were white people. So I never really even thought a Nigerian could work for Google in Google, right? It took a lot more work by people ahead of me who got the role, who did the role well, for me to even start believing that I could get the role. And at the point I was even applying for the role, I was being considered for the role, I didn't think so that I could get it, right? And I think that has also helped with after, what's coming after me. I think a lot more people have been encouraged and empowered and like, there's nothing spectacular about this guy. Maybe he's great. Maybe he's a good representation. But if he can do it, I can do it. So I think it's very important for the men or for the advantaged group in a team to provide that inclusive support and to encourage the people who join to stay on the team so that is a very strong representation for people that are outside. Because in fact, it's even going to be very, very bad if somebody comes into a team or into a company and says, no, I don't like that place. It's a very toxic place, right? I can't stay there. That's why I left. In fact, every time you leave a company, they will ask you, why did you leave? And if the testimony or the report is very bad, then you're doing more harm. So the role of the people on the team, the role of the allies is to constantly understand that it is up to them for us to achieve this balance. And if they don't help with inclusion, retention, progression, and leadership opportunities for women, we're never going to fix it, right? So it's the allies' job to make it easier and to make it equal for people to be on a balanced team.
Thank you, Anedi. That was such a good response. I like that you mentioned that it's not enough to talk about it. We have to make practical efforts, like bring them into tech. And then it's not even enough to help them secure roles. We have to ensure that it's a comfortable, welcoming environment for them. That was a good one. Thank you so much. Um, Coming back to you, Damilola. Earlier I spoke about the statistics that says that women make up only 28.8% of the tech workforce. And what exactly do you think is the cause for this? What events do you think happen that make this happen, that make it just 28.8%?
All right.
And how do you
Thank
think we
you.
can bridge the gap? How do you
Bridge
think we
that
can
gap.
close that gap? Yeah.
All right. So I would start from one of the points Anita mentioned. So number one is fear, right? Eh, so women need to overcome self-doubt, right? Am I good enough? Am I capable enough? Am I well suited for this particular role? Right? A lot of us tend to ask ourselves these questions before we even say we want to apply for a particular job. Like, do I fulfill the qualifications? But compared to men, like Anedi mentioned, men just apply, like before even thinking of all of those things. So we need to also begin to do that. Once you know you have those skills, you don't need to doubt yourself. You don't need to question yourself. Just apply and then work harder or work hard to ensure that you do well in that particular role. Another thing I would say is asking for help. So we women, I would say we like doing things ourselves, but in the world of tech, we need to realize that we're actually not an island. We need to ask people for help. Or when you're battling with a bug, when you are not doing so well at work, before you get to that stage when they put you on probation or something, you need to ask for help and ask people for guidance as much as possible. Then one thing like women tend to also do is that they tend to judge every tech company the same. So because this particular company did this to me, it means this other company is the same thing. So it means maybe tech is not for me, or I should do something else, right? So every company isn't the same. Like they all have their different values and like the different way they treat their employees and the different way they undo gender biases. Like one company might be way ahead of another company when it comes to all of those things, having rules in terms of sexual harassment, having rules in terms of male and female counterparts, relationships, and all of those things. So try to understand that like every company isn't the same. So you shouldn't generalize and say, oh, this is how the tech field is, like this is how tech companies are. And in for that, I wouldn't go into tech, right? So if we can actually drop some of these things and understand, we would actually have more women coming into tech. And lastly, I would also want to mention is that all women don't have to be software engineers before they say they're into tech. You don't have to know how to code or program before you're coming into tech. There are more flexible roles now or more encompassing roles like product manager, like UI UX design. So there are more there are other roles in tech that can actually fit in as a woman without necessarily knowing how to code. So those that like so we women should look into all these um, other roles and like get ourselves out there into tech. And to solve all of these questions or all of these doubts you might actually have before jumping into a career in tech as a woman, one thing I would advise is finding a mentor or getting a mentor, someone who is already in that field you would like to go in into, and also us like having more programs like She Code Africa does, like more training programs, more outreach programs to reach out to more women out there and to train them and to help them understand that it's actually not hard to come into tech. Like it's actually pretty straightforward, and there is a growth path that you can actually have in these like different areas.
Thank you, Dami. Thank you so much. Oh, we lost you for a while, but I believe we're able to get most of your points. Thank you. Um, so for in your bong, we're talking about leadership bias, and you said, some of these things they happen unconsciously. You just see someone in hijab and you're like, can I, will I? Or you see a lady and you're wondering, okay, so she's odd, she looks odd, she's the only woman here. In fact, I would share an experience with you. This one, it wasn't even in tech. So I usually do my braids at a particular place. And then last week I just got there, and then I saw that the woman was pregnant. And then I'm like, I don't want a pregnant woman to make my hair. And then it took a while for me to call myself back that, okay, this is maternal bias that you're giving off now. So how do we overcome leadership bias, like in the tech space as a leader? How do we overcome it? It will come unconsciously, as you mentioned, but how do we ensure that it does not influence our decision making and in turn affect the career or growth of other women?
Okay, I remember Ada said she talked about going on maybe a yearly training, or if we can have it like bi-yearly training on, okay, so that you keep yourself in check, because sometimes you might get to forget that, okay, oh, biases still exist, and in your mind you might think, okay, now I have an inclusive community, or an inclusive organization. But if you keep yourself in check, and you have a structure where where even the employees can give you feedback, they can talk to you, they can tell you, okay, oh, this is what we think we should do better, or these are the things you're not doing right. I think it's going to keep, as a leader or as an employer, it's going to put you in check, because every time you're being reminded, or you have a training that you're being reminded that biases that exist. And you also have employers who are working with you, or maybe board of trustees who are working with you, so they're always reminding you, or they're always putting you in check, like, okay, oh, so that you don't overdo, because sometimes we don't want to do it, but it just happens, it occurs, and we're like, okay, it's the norm, but it shouldn't be the norm. Like, I think there was a tweet that trended last week or this week about the anklet. Maybe someone wore an anklet to for an interview, and the lady was like, oh, we can't employ you because you're wearing an anklet. So that's a bias, and sometimes it's a bias that we've been conditioned to believe, oh, ladies are not meant to wear to wear anklets even outside. And then in a professional setting, you're wearing anklet to come, and okay, we don't even know you yet, we've not employed you yet, and you're wearing anklet. Are you trying to show me that you're stubborn, or that, okay, this is what you're going to be doing when we employ you? So that's a bias. Most times we need to look, we need to look ahead of that. We need to look at the certificate, the qualification of the people who are employing, the ladies who are employing, and not what we've been conditioned to believe. So if we can do this, we're going to have a more inclusive and a more favorable working condition, that everyone feels safe, feels encouraged, and can work and give in their best. So that's what that's my input for this.
Thank you, Ine. Thank you so much. Oh, someone says in the comment section that that was very clear and concise, and I agree. I agree that when giving feedback, we shouldn't be harsh. Thank you so much, Bakari. I see you in the comment section. Okay, so on to Anyedi again. We've spoken about how we should make the workplace inclusive. We should encourage women in tech. But in terms of, let's say I'm not working with this person in the same environment, or this person is even new to tech, hasn't even started a role, but is already facing the biases, what would you say men can do, let's say outside the corporate world, individually? What can men do to encourage women in tech and bridge the gender gap?
Okay. What can men do? What have men been doing? What have men not been doing? I think the first things we need to talk to ourselves, right? So usually, if you join a team, or if you are on a you're in a company where there seems to be this. I mean, whatever team you join in, and I can say I was in this position a long time ago, and even right now I find myself in that position. Everyone on the team is not going to have the same level of awareness. It's not going to have the same level of um, education about biases, unconscious biases, about the anxiety that women are facing, the exact situation. So the most important thing, first of all, is to talk to ourselves, right? You need to first of all look at other people on your team and realize that, if you appreciate a situation, or if you wouldn't act in a particular way, if other people have the tendency to act that way, you need to talk to them. So no, we need to educate ourselves. So we need to talk to one another. If you're hiring, or you're looking at the team, or like, I'll give you a clear example. You're invited to speak on a panel at a conference, and it's an all-male panel, or it's not a diverse panel. Then you should raise an objection. You just don't accept that opportunity and jump at it. There's something that's very critical. I mean, for those who are on the call and everyone, you can look it up. It's called lending privilege. Like, if you invite me for a particular event and I feel that I'm not the best person, or that my contribution is just going to create sort of like an echo chamber of the opinions on the panel, then it's okay to say turn down the offer, reject it, but don't just stop there. Then you can recommend someone else, right? You can go ahead and say, oh, I don't think I'm the best person to do this. Have you tried, or have you thought of including this other person? So in the public space, you can actually do very intentional things to make sure that conference organizers, employers of labor, people doing interview, people with authority and decision making are able to sort of, you're able to sort of educate them or share this information with them every opportunity you have. The other thing that I think that can be done is, we talked about mentorship. Not everyone can reach out for mentorship, right? So oftentimes it is the mentor that has to place a bet on someone. So first of all, it's quite easy when maybe the person you're interacting with, the person you're looking at, is excellent at what they're doing, or maybe you call like a superstar or a world-class developer. It's easy to reach out to that person and say, okay, you can be more than what you are right now. But sometimes you have to place a bet on people. In my career, a lot of people have placed bets on me. So jobs I was not, completely qualified for, or I felt I wasn't good enough, or I was sort of shrinking in my own space or staying in my comfort zone. Somebody comes out of the way and says, I think you can do this. So I think for the men, if you see someone, struggling at work, obviously talented, maybe dealing with some level of anxiety, you should be able to reach out and say, you know what, let's have a cup of coffee, or let's talk. I think you could do this. I think you could do that. In your book, talked about feedback. The truth about feedback is that sometimes feedback needs to be, I don't want to use the word harsh, it needs to be candid, right? So if someone is shrinking in their work and they're not doing it very well, you're not doing the person any good by saying, oh, that was fantastic. Even sometimes when I go on a panel or I go to an event, I look at myself and I'm like, that event was crap, right? But I go online, I'm like, oh, what an awesome event. I think sometimes you're not doing the event organizer any good, right? Really explain to people, and it's a difficult position to be in, but you need to be able to step up and say, okay, you did a great job, but here are a few places where you can improve upon what you did, right? So sometimes it is going out there and giving very useful feedback, because if you don't give that person feedback, if you don't tell the person, in quote, the truth, then you're not doing the person any good. Just commending or applauding somebody for not putting enough effort or for doing below their potential, could even be doing them more harm than good. They're never ever going to realize their full potential. So I think that is really the concept of lending privilege, the concept of just like radical and candid feedback, the concept of reaching things, sort of educating ourselves, talking to ourselves, right? These are things that we can do very consciously, even in something as simple as a meeting, right? So somebody asks an opinion, or you notice in the room, we're 6 of us around this table, 2 people have been speaking all along. You can ask me a question. I'm like, well, I can go ahead with an answer, but in your what do you think about this, right? You offer that other person an opportunity to speak up, or you can even pass a note or ping. I ping people during meetings like, this guy is yanning dust. I think you should tell him, or do you agree on this? Or let the person know your opinion. If you know my opinion on the side, during the meeting, it's very easy to say, okay, this thing I'm going to say, 1 or 2 people agree with me, because sometimes people don't want to upset the apple cart. And then I think the final thing, I think someone also mentioned this in the comment, I just saw it when it was scrolling up, about whether men are ready to, follow women or be led by women. Or more, in the job, when I joined Google, our country director was a woman. I cannot come and say because Juliet is a woman, I'm not going to collect Google job. Some things you can learn. And then when you learn, you actually do find out that these managers, these leaders are actually extremely great people, right? So we need to disabuse ourselves of some mentalities that a woman can't lead the team, I can't work for a woman. In fact, I encourage a lot of men who are, struggling with this concept of allyship and followership to go work on a team that's led by a woman, work on a project and take a back seat, be very open to just forget about what you think, whether you're the head of the house or you're the breadwinner or the firstborn or la di da. Just volunteer for positions where you take a back seat and then work under a woman and then share the experience with other people and like, oh, mama, try for me, or I don't even do this and that. She even covered me up. When you get those experiences, I don't think you have any issue working with a woman. Like, and that creates a lot of opportunity for everybody else.
Thank you, Amedi. Thank you so much. The comment section is buzzing because I feel like you've spoken about things that all of us can relate to. Yeah, so thank you so much. I have one last question for you before the final question for everyone. So this question is one that makes me annoyed most times. Like people see She Code Africa on Twitter and you hear, what happened to a Code Africa? Don't men need support? Or you see female focused roles and someone is saying, oh, why are they doing that? Why are they why are they discriminating against women? So what's your take on this? What's your opinion on it generally?
This is a very tough question. Can we pause recording so that only the people that are live can get my answer? And okay. So the first thing about this is like when you're in the privileged or you're in the advantaged group, it's hard to see the other person's problem, right? You don't know what. Look at. There's no diesel in Nigeria now. The kind of complaints people are complaining about. Diesel has got 700 there. Somebody else will tell you that what is diesel? I saw a comment on Twitter where they said, somebody was saying, they took lights now SA for 30 minutes and people started rolling out their boxes and going to hotel. I'm probably like, what's the connection between this and that? There's some things you do not realize when you're not in the disadvantaged group, right? And that's the first thing you need to understand. Before you can even lend your privilege, you have to recognize your privilege, right? And I think there's one graphic or there's an image. I wish I could pull it up and just share my screen or something that really talks about this. If you go online and you search for equity versus equality, right, you would see that image and that graphic that describes clearly why in some situations you need to give one group more opportunity or more privilege or more resources than the other group. I wouldn't say more resources, I'll say more attention. So here's what is very important for organizations with the ecosystem. It's a 50-50 balance is great. Adora mentioned this in her talk. There's a lot of research that talks about this is fantastic. If you're going to build a product and your entire team is homogeneous, you only think of things in one way or the other, you can never get world domination. You can never get across all, genders or all geographies. So even just for the mathematics, just for the business logic, you need to have a product that, is comfortable with everyone. So what then happens on a team or in a company is you don't want to lower the bar, right? What you want to do is you want to keep the bar very high, but you want to increase the opportunity for others to meet that bar. So when it comes to this question of equality and representation and even the gender balance, I am not an advocate for lowering the standards so that more women can come into technology. We're saying keep the bar very high and then increase the opportunity and the support to the disadvantaged person so that, everybody who comes in meets the threshold. So for the men who are screaming at such things, I don't think that no one is stopping us from doing the He Code Africa, right? But the point is, what problem are you trying to solve, right? If you don't create a solution looking for a problem. You go and take a problem and then you try to solve for it. So when you see organizations like She Code Africa, Women Tech Makers, Techstars, Technovation Women, and all the women programs that you see around, it's because there is a problem. It's not done for the fun of it. It's not done for the likes or retweet or for the gram. It's because there's actually a serious situation, and this is affecting businesses, people, egos, and success. So, I mean, nothing stop. First things first is I also the other thing I would say is when it comes to networking, which is very critical in the workplace, very critical in the industry, men have a lot of advantages, right? We go to the viewing center to watch ball. You go to play golf. There's so much opportunity to connect ourselves that sometimes we're not consciously trying to connect ourselves based on our profession. You just go somewhere to hang out and then you see one of the guys in the office. You go somewhere to play ball every morning on a Saturday or a Sunday or something. So there's a lot more networking going among business professionals where at that point, trying to intentionally solve a networking, a mentorship, a connection problem, right? Just for men in tech is almost redundant. But you don't see these same set of opportunities on the other side of gender. They have to intentionally create these spaces, these opportunities to connect people and to make mentorship happen. So I think for anyone who is clamoring for He Code Africa or whatever, okay, do you want the women to create He Code Africa for you, or are we men ourselves going to go and create the He Code Africa? And if you're still struggling with the concept of why do we need to do more, just go Google for that image between equity and equality. And then if it's the one about the apple tree or about the one trying to watch a ball game and why you need to sort of put different pedestals. I think when you see those images, you'd understand where other people are coming from and why it's very important for the disadvantaged group to try and get a few more opportunities than those of us that have an advantage.
Thank you, Anyete. That was a spot on response. Like, to solve extreme problems, sometimes you need to take decisions that may look extreme to people, but is necessary to do. So thank you very much. Dami, is there anything you'd like to share with us that I haven't covered with my questions, or you like to say something to buttress and near this point? So you have the floor.
All right. So what I just want to add is most of this notions or these things are being passed down from one generation to the next. Like, oh, the role of a woman should be in the kitchen, like those sort of stereotypes, right? So it's apart from challenging those biases ourselves or breaking them, we need to also be conscious of what we're teaching our children or the younger individuals around us, right? So I'm in the children's space, so we need to consciously train our children to understand that, okay, then there's a need for equity, there's a need for equality, just like Aniedi has mentioned. So let's consciously imbibe that knowledge around us.
Thank you, Dami. In your bong, any last words from you? You're muted.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Okay, so I would love to say, as leaders, we just like I think Kenyedi said, that decisions you're going to make that will look like an extreme decision. So, as leaders, if we want to create an inclusive space that is void of bias, we need to be very intentional about how we reach out to these women. Just like you said, a man might have just might know just maybe 20% of what you're looking for, and then the lady believes that she has to have an idea or have that skill like 120%, know what she needs to apply for. So we need to be intentional about reaching out to these ladies. Sometimes we even need to say we are looking out for a lady. And most times, I still believe in, okay, even when we're trying to bring in more ladies into the space, we don't need to bring down the value, or we don't need to bring down, the value of what we're looking out for. But we can also help these ladies. That ladies you see, and okay, this person is willing to learn. Okay, this person has prospect to learn because of the way they reach out to you. Okay, because of the interview you've had with them. So I think we need to be intentional about, even when we're placing advertisements, as owners or leaders of organizations, we need to be intentional. Okay, we're looking for a woman for this position, so that even when the person, most ladies, when you give an open ad like that, they believe, okay, oh, a lot of men will apply for this, so I'm not going to, I don't need to. So if we make it, okay, oh, we're looking for women for this role, so they believe, okay, oh, it's going to be me against another woman, so I'm going to apply for this. So they believe, okay, oh, this role is for a woman. And just like Oluwadamilola said, and this with my organization. So I try to demystify tech and to make people understand. And why I do this thing is because of women, to make them understand that the tech ecosystem doesn't revolve around coding and programming. And there's something I've seen. Once they get started, maybe with UI UX, they grow into it. Maybe because of the organization they get to work in, maybe they started as a product designer, and then they get to work with the programmers, and from there they might get to love programming and then move into programming. So I believe we should make we should, even if it's going to be extreme, sometimes we should put out adverts that, okay, oh, we're looking for women for this role, and then get
Thank
them. And
you,
also,
Inabong.
sorry, let me say this. We need to encourage them. Most times we are in the advantage position and we believe everybody should be like us. No, most of these ladies, they need people to talk to them. They need that extra encouragement. So we should put ourselves in their shoes and not just believe that everybody should be like us. Okay, oh, we have it, we're doing it well. There was nobody to push us, so everybody should be the same way. So I think we should put ourselves in and encourage more ladies to come into take.
Thank you, Ini. Thank you so much. Finally, Anya, is there any final words from you?
No, no. I think I've said enough. It's great to have this opportunity. I mean, there's always that, even when you're called on the International Women's Day program as a man, or and in your was right, there was something about adverts, and even over the last couple of weeks, we've seen some skewed adverts, and it was tough even just accepting this, and opening myself up for this. But thanks for having me. And like I said, for those who don't have this education yet, just make a conscious effort to educate yourself about these things. And I hope this session was useful, and I hope people have positive takeaways, from
Yes,
today.
it was. Thank you. Thank you, Aniedi. Thank you, Dami. Thank you, Ini. We had such an insightful session. I hope that, we all go back challenged to take conscious and practical steps to break the bias. Thank you, everyone. So, okay, yeah. So, I'd like you to talk about the panel session. Let me know how it was in the comments while Omotola takes over from me.
That was amazing. Olamide, the section was really hot. The comment was, everybody was dropping inputs and others. Thank you so much for handling the sections. We'll move on to the next section now. So the next section is what I really take personal, and it's what most of us here have been waiting for. I'm going to bring in Elizabeth to give more details on this. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Omotola. Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good evening and happy International Women's Day from Shikod, Africa. So I'll be handling this session, and it's going to be really brief. My name is Elizabeth Okaume, and I am the operations lead at Shikod, Africa. So I know that at some point we put up applications for laptops and we got some entries. And yes, this session is actually for me to announce the successful applicants of this laptop scholarship. But before then, I would love to say two things about this laptop scholarship. First of all, we got sponsors for this scholarship from two amazing organizations, which is the Pair and Lazapay, and they are the ones that are actually sponsoring this particular Q1 laptop scholarship fund. Also, I know that at some point on our social media handles, we announced that we are going to be giving out 5 laptops every quarter, but because this is Women's Month, we made it 10 actually. And now, before I announce these winners, for those that applied, I want you to know that we screened everyone thoroughly, in as much as we wanted everybody to get a laptop, but for now we cannot do that. So that's why we even went from 5 to 10. So if you do not get selected, please do not feel bad and keep on applying. I'm sure that someday you definitely get a laptop from She Code Africa. All right. So I'll be calling out the winners now. I'm actually excited about this because I know that these winners, after now, they'll get better at their various career path. Yeah. All right. So let's go. Okay, so here the very first winner that we have here. Okay, before I call the winners, please and please, if I call your name as a winner, please kindly go on social media, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and say something about it. Tell us how excited you are. And also, as the conversation is going on, please and please, if I call your name, kindly reply so that I would know that you are here present on this call. All right. So the very first person on my list now, okay, drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls. All right, let's get started. The very first person on my list now is Peace Sia Bukayire. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name properly. Hello, Peace. Are you here? If you are here, please say something on the comment section. Congratulations on getting yourself a brand new laptop. Congratulations, Peace. All right, that's Pisia Bukayire. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it properly. All right, so we have Nabila Junaid. Hello, Nabila. Congratulations on getting yourself a brand new laptop from She Code Africa. We have is Nabila here? Okay, she's not here. All right. We have Atinuke Oluwabamike. Congratulations, Atinuke Oluwabamike. We have Onyemowo Ajuwon. Onyemowo Ajuwon. Congratulations to you. We have Aisha Muibudin. Aisha Muibudin. Congratulations, Aisha. We have Temi Tokpe Tijani. Temi Tokpe Tijani. Congratulations. Congratulations, Temi Tokpe. We have Victoria Ihenetu. Congratulations, Victoria. We have Osemudiame Igbinoba. Congratulations, Ose. We have Utenwo Ojo Abraham. Congratulations, Utenwo Abraham. Finally we have Teniola Olowo Okere. Congratulations, Tenny. Yeah, so these are the 10 successful applicants of She Code Africa Laptop Scholarship for Q1. Congratulations, ladies. And you would get an email shortly after this call. So please go online and go and tell us how excited and happy you are. Also, while this conversation is going on, I'm sure that we have learned a whole lot. So please, I want everybody to go out there and tweet, and do not forget to use the hashtag SCAIWD22. Please, thank you very much. Bye.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for announcing that. Like, this is the most important section to most people because, with all the things you are learning or you've been learning so far without a laptop, like, you're just there.
I know,
So
right?
I'm really
It's
happy
fatal,
for the
yeah.
winners. I'm really happy.
I am
Congratulations.
too.
And just like she said, if you didn't win any this period, don't worry, you can apply again. We are giving this out every quarter of the year, like every quarter. So you're going to apply again and you might be lucky. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for having me, Omotola. Bye.
Yeah, let's congratulate the winners. Let's congratulate the winners and remember to use the hashtag SCAIWD 2022. So the next speaker we have now is Gloria. Gloria, let me know if you're there. Hi, Gloria. So Gloria will be talking about how to maximize your career through personal branding. Okay.
Hi, Omotala.
Hi. So just give me a few minutes to share your slides.
Okay.
So you can go on with the introduction while I do that.
Okay. Okay. Hi. Hold on. Give me a minute. So, hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Gloria Sukwa. I'm a front-end developer and I am a content strategist. Yeah, I wear two hats. So, I really love to appreciate the leaders of in She Code Africa for giving me the opportunity to speak at this event. I'm really, really excited about this event because it's actually targeted at accelerating equality for all, and that's something I'm very, very passionate about. So yes. So if you're excited while I wait for the slides, if you're excited about this session, please can you send your favorite sticker or something?
Hi.
Omotola, have you been able to share it?
Yes.
Okay.
It will come up now. Okay. Now you have it. Gloria.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much. Okay. So today I'll be having a session on maximizing your career through personal branding. Yes, it's a very deep talk that I feel like we women should have, especially women that have their feet in their career. So remember I said my name is Gloria Asuko and okay, hold on. Please, how do I get to the next slide? Okay, so my name is Gloria Asuko, and I'm a front-end developer and content strategist. The next slide, please. So, no, go back to meet Idara. So yes, meet Idara. Idara a tech is a techie and she is a data analyst by profession, and this is something that she has been in the industry for about 2 years and she has found her ground in the industry, and she has actually mastered the whole concept of um the whole concept of sorry she has mastered the whole concept of um she has mastered the whole concept of data analysis, and she's very, very passionate about it and very passionate about helping people, and that's one thing that makes Idara the way she is. So she's very, very passionate about creating value for people through the experiences she has gained and through the knowledge she has gained. So please, the next slide. Now, speaking of Idara is actually worth a lot of things. Having been in the industry, Idara is worth she's what job offers from various FAANG companies. So FAANG or fan companies are Facebook, Alphabet, Apple, Netflix, and Google. So you can see how exciting it is to work in those companies. Actually, in tech industry, to work in those companies are like so dicey and all. Then Idara has a very high network of people. She has a very, very high network, and she rolls with the big boys, the big girls in the industry, in the tech industry, and that is Idara for you. And then Idara has multiple opportunities when it comes to multiple gigs, multiple opportunities, multiple awards, and at the same time, she's accessible to a lot of speaking engagements. Like she's almost on the fly of every speaking engagement. Please, next slide. So Idara understood something. For her to have gained that level, she understood something, and that is personal branding. Now, personal branding is defined as the act of putting out your unique, authentic self through the work you do. And in case it's all, you could also look at it as packaging and managing your reputation for others to see. So personal branding is actually how you set yourself, how you package yourself, how you manage your reputation for others to see. And that was something that Idara understood. So she was able to, knowing very well that she's in the tech industry, she actually defined herself and set herself in a very recognizable way um for people to see. She was of high value. She had portrayed herself, she created herself how she wanted people to see her in a very unique and authentic way. And that's one thing about personal branding, apart from the fact you have to do a lot about publicizing yourself, you just have to show that authentic self, that unique part of you. Please, the next slide. So before, when you're talking about personal branding, you talk about value, and that is one thing. No one wants to identify themselves with someone that doesn't have values. For you to be able to brand yourself, you have to actually show what your worth is, and that comes with the value you're able to exhibit. Now, how do you brand yourself? How to build your personal brand? So um first of all, number one is to find a niche. So this is a niche could also be defined as like a part, like an area that you want to specialize in. And for Idara, she knew, having been a data analyst, her niche was actually data analysis. So if you're, for instance, a design I feel has different areas. So you could just find your niche in product design or UI UX design, or you could find your niche in graphics design. So she actually found her niche, actually defined her niche, because it's easier for you people to identify you when they know that this is a niche that I can relay this person with. So there are some people that is technical writing, everybody knows them with. That's how to find your niche. So you find your niche through that. The second one is to define your brand. Define your brand. Yes. So it involves showing or choosing your name, your values, the platforms, like everything that you want, the platforms you want to use to publicize yourself, the social media platforms, and how you want to exhibit your values. So that is how you define your brand. So first of all, you could be, if you want to use your real name, for instance, Gloria Asuko, everybody should know Gloria Asuko. In case, if for instance like Hack Sultan, everybody knows him as Hack Sultan. That's definitely not his real name. But if, for instance, you want to choose a name, don't go about using like different names. Try to use a name that is very that can easily identified by anyone. And that's how to define your brand. And also your values. What do you stand for? What are your values? What are the things you bring to the table? Sorry, I'm saying that word, but what are the things you bring to the industry, and or what platforms do you want to use? Do you want to package yourself online, or do you want to do it offline? If you want to do it online, you have to, do you want to use Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? Now I also advise that you should not just streamline yourself to one platform. Try to be versatile, try to be flexible with different platforms, be it offline or online, because you don't know how much value you would be able to give to other people. So now, first of all, when you're thinking of personal branding, don't see it so much in a selfish way. Also see it as you giving impact, giving value to a lot of people. And that is one thing that will make you sellable. The impact you give, how much impact you give, how much value you are able to give, that is what will make people identify you. So define what you want, how many people you want to be of impact to. Also, the next one is to choose value over anything. Like I said, choose value over anything. No one is going to follow someone who is a mediocre, who doesn't bring anything to, who doesn't have anything to offer. You have to have something to sell. You have to have something you want to show people, something you want to give people impact. You have to, is it money? Some people own is money. For some people it's money, for some people it is what they're able to teach, what they're able to do, the influence, their leadership skills. So it varies. Then also be consistent. Let it not be that the last time you pushed yourself out there was um maybe in January, and the next time you're doing that is in March. You have to be consistent. If you're doing it 3 times a week, now this also entails you, that means you are going to, if for instance you want to be of value, that means you have to be posting online, you have to interact, join communities. Anytime someone asks question, you give out, dish out answers to those questions. Try to find relevance. So relevance comes in different way. It could be by you doing online videos, or you doing a podcast, or you writing a blog, or you doing content on social media, or you joining a community and dishing out answers to different questions that people have. So you have to be consistent with it. Now that is one thing that will make people know that, okay, this person is not anyhow person in the industry, because this person is, sorry, because this person is able to give out value, this person is able to dish out value. The next slide. So remember to be consistent. You're a queen, you don't need to be found lacking behind. So why do you want to brand yourself? There are various reasons why you want to brand yourself. So excitingly, you can become famous, selectively famous, not just anyhow famous, selectively famous. Secondly, you could also minimize imposter syndrome. So imagine if, for instance, you're having all the opportunities like Idara had. Tell me how you would have imposter syndrome. There's almost no how you have imposter syndrome, because these are the big people, like these big companies are coming to ask for you to work with them. The big guys in the industries are the ones you roll with. You have a lot of opportunities. People are benefiting from the impact you give. So there's no how you have imposter syndrome. So you also attract lots of opportunities. Like so for like Idara had lot of opportunities, lot of speaking engagement, lot of job opportunities, lot of gigs, and also that's how you attract opportunities. Then also the fourth one is you take control of your career. So you know how you take control of your career. You know, this is where I want to work with, or this is the company I want to work with. These are the people I want to hang out with. This is the message I want to pass. This is the impact I want to relay to people. So you are able to say, this is how I want my career to be. You are able to make and define that career path for yourself, and that's one thing you're able to do when you build your brand. Then also you build credible network. Like I said, there's no how you'll be of that high network without you without you without you hanging out with the big people. So there was a time on Twitter where people talked about having cliques, which also I feel like it's not wrong to have a clique in your wherever you are, like whatever industry you find yourself in, because it's actually relevant. as far as you are not using it to the disadvantage of others. But I don't see it as a bad thing to be in a clique. Be in a clique. Yeah, it helps a lot. There's a lot of benefits in being in a clique. Don't mind what other people say. Also, increase your confidence. It increases your confidence. So the, there's a confidence, just like I said, it reduces your imposter syndrome. Also increases your confidence. How much? Okay. Also increases your confidence. What you're able to do for people, like you know that okay, this is Gloria. Like I know what I'm doing. Like you don't feel short of yourself. Like imagine celebrities telling you that you don't have confidence. Imagine Rihanna saying she doesn't have confidence. Yeah, they're not in our industry, but I'm just using them as an example. Imagine um who else? Adora saying she doesn't have confidence. Like nah. Imagine Ada saying she doesn't have confidence. So you would definitely have confidence, knowing very well that this is the value you are able to give to people. You would definitely have confidence. So yes, the next slide. So yes, thank you so much. I don't know if I was able to exhaust this. Send me your feedback, and then if there's any um question you have, buzz me on Twitter or Facebook. So on Twitter I'm Gloria, on Facebook I'm Gloria Asupo. So and also I'll be releasing an article later today. So just check my Twitter handle or my Facebook or LinkedIn, and you see a a proper explanation in the form of an article. So thank you so much. You're mute. We can't hear you. Unmute your mic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gloria. That was really a really great section. So if you have any comments, any input or questions for Gloria, you can drop it in the comment section. So she will be there answering the questions. Thank you so much for coming on board today.
Thank you so much for
Bye
having
bye.
me. Bye.
Yeah. So we have one more speaker, but before we go to our section, we are going to have like a game. Olamide, are you there? So we want
Yes, I
to,
am.
yeah, we want to play an interesting game, and we are going to be using count. Do you want to tell us more about it while I share my screen?
Okay, so we are going to be playing a Kahoots game. Omotala is going to share a screen. And okay, so while this is going on, if you can, I want you to still go to social media, tell people about what is going on, use the hashtag. We're rounding up soon, so someone could just come in later and catch up with the last session or something. So share and let more people join the session. Thank you.
And to also
Omotala, are you
add,
ready for us?
um, oh, not yet. Sorry.
Okay, let's hold on.
Okay, so I'll be sharing now. Can you see my screen? Not yet.
Not yet.
Let me know if you can see it now. You should be able to.
We can't see it yet.
Okay. What about now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is the game pin. You can, I'll drop the link in the chat, in the comments now. So just click on the link and put on the pin. Your hands. Okay, so put the game pin, which is 5480263. So just go to kahoot.it. Are we there? Can we start the game?
Type in kahoot.it in your browser, KAHOOT.it, and use the game pin 5480263.
Are
We're
we
still waiting
ready?
for you.
Okay, let's call that again. 54800263. So don't worry, we have something for the winner. 54800263. Okay. I'm going to start the game now, but I just want to be sure. I've sent the link, please. Check the chat. I've shared the link. Are you ready? I want to be sure everyone is ready. Anyone has not joined, so I can't start yet. So if you win this game, we are going to you are going to get like a course scholarship. And just to go back to what Gloria said earlier, so it's not just about you. I'm waiting for players to join. So it's not just about you learning, it's not just about you taking courses, it's not just about you looking for a mentor. You also have to brand yourself. Like, it's very important. Make use of, you can watch this the video later to get points. You can follow her, you can drop your question if you're not sure of how to brand yourself. It is very important. It's part of what you need as a Texas. Temitope, you are not ready. We are waiting for players to join. I'm going to start the game in 2 minutes' time. Let me check that. Okay, so there is a limit because we are using free section. Oh, okay. So that means we are going to play the game twice. For those who are in, are we ready to go? Just 3 persons. Okay, let's start and we'll do another round. So, Bosom, Zeno, are you ready? 1, 2, start. So, Olamide can help to read out the questions, right?
All right.
1, 2, go.
So, who is or are the SCA IWD 22 sponsors? You have 3 more seconds. 2, 1, 0. Okay.
Okay.
So only 2 people got it right. So let's move to the next question. Okay. Which is the correct spelling? She codes, Africa. I can't say the third option. So you choose the correct thing. She codes.
Okay.
In fact, I am proud of you. Very proud of you people. All right. So the next question.
Zeno is doing well.
What is NOR? Light. She codes Africa Light. She codes Africa websites. She codes Africa blog. Thank you to the 1 person that got it. NOR stands for She Codes Africa's blog. Blossom. Well done. SCA has chapters in all the following except Nigeria, Kenya, Texas. 1 second to go. All right, so 2 people got the correct answer. Let's see. Zeno, we see you. You're doing well. Let's go again. What is the name of the SCA IWD co-host? If you don't know it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who missed? All right, so let's go to the next question. Well done, Zeno. You're never letting anybody overtake you. That's good. Next question, please. Number 6 says, SCA sent out data support for IWD 2022 using which platform?
Zeno, you are doing well.
Honestly. All right, next question. Question 7. The first rule when you join SA community is what?
Just one person got
Okay.
it. Oh, Zeno, you are.
Well done, Blossom. Well done. Question 8. What is the theme for this year's SCA IWD event? Hmm.
Like, one person got strong.
Well, let's see.
The last, okay, second to the last.
Second to that question. SCA has how many followers on Twitter and Instagram? Ha. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm still. Just one
Thumbs
person
up to
got it.
whoever got it right. 'Cause,
Nobody,
wow.
nobody, nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody.
That was expected anyway.
Yeah. The last question.
Okay, let's move to the last question. What was the subject of the last SCA newsletter sent out? Hmm.
Two persons got it right. Yeah.
All right, so let's see the scoreboard. Oh,
Bosom!
well done, Blossom.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Congratulations. So you can reach out to me to claim your prize. Congratulations. Congratulations. So should we go again? So let's go back to how you feel about the event while I set the space for the second game. So we are going to be using pseudo. Yeah. Congratulations. So I'll remove this. Olamide, do you still have this?
Congrats, Blossom.
So this game, the trick about this game is just for you to be fast. Why? To pick your answer, you have to read very fast, right? So one more game before we bring our last speaker, which is Blessing. One more game, one more game. So we are not using Kahoot now, right? We're not.
We're using Slido now. Let me share my
Okay.
screen.
So this one, you can type in, let me give you hints. You can type your response in the chat. So I'm going to be picking winners from there. I think we should pick 3 winners. We still have more courses to go. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Okay, yes, I can. I'll just move to the game. So you're up now.
All right. So the first question. Recently, our founder, Ada shared about what she does, what we do at She Code Africa on a news platform. Number 1, what is the name of the news platform? And number 2, which segment did she speak about it? Someone said Oscar first. What? Let's
So
get
you
more
have,
responses, please.
yeah, you also have the opportunity to type it in the comments so that we can pick random winners. So people didn't know it. I guess everyone is going out there to just mod favor. Like, people are not sure what the answer is. Oscar first, Ted Kaba. Well done. Everybody, well done. So you have not really been following SCA platform. So while that game is going on, I would like to say if you are not part of SCA community yet, please join. I'll share the link to join our community, and you can also go to our website. You see the join now or join our community, apply to join. And I really want to talk about something because we still have some winners we're going to be announcing soon. So when we put out application for any particular thing, or I'll give example of the challenge we pushed out some weeks back, people don't pay attention or probably won't read the instructions. So if we ask you to do a particular post, tag She Code Africa, some people went ahead and probably take the picture with the post, but they didn't use the hashtag that was required, and they did not share with tag She Code Africa. The same thing applies when anyone is trying to apply to She Code Africa community. You need to show us that you are okay. When we ask, why do you want to join the She Code Africa community? Don't just type yes. What is yes? We just talk about be intentional, personal branding. Try to explain, let us know, convince us on why you want to join the SCA community. At least before you pick the application form, there's something that gingers you, or there's something that make you feel okay, I should be part of this community. Why don't just take your time and type it there? So going forward, I just want to encourage everyone to be intentional about whatever you're applying for. Is it that a scholarship? Is it that to join a community? Is it that to engage yourself in anything? Be intentional about it. Don't just do it for doing sake. I know some people have filled the form to join SCA community and probably they didn't get invites. So this is me telling you that we didn't consider your application because you didn't give us the reason why we should, right? So I hope everybody understand that. So after so many cheating, nobody got the right answer. Okay, somebody got it, but we can't find the name of the person. So if you can just drop it in the comments, we'll take notes. So we have different winners to announce. We have the IWG challenge winners, we have early birds winners, and we have the feedback section. So before we move to those sections, that's the last section for today. We are going to have our last speaker. Thank you, Olamide, for sharing your screen. So we are going to have our last speaker, Blessing. Hi, Blessing, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. Hello.
Thank you so much for joining. I know you've actually joined us like few minutes back or hours back. You've been with us since. Thank you so much for your patience. We really appreciate this. So I will just hand over the mic to you now.
Okay. Thank you, Omotola. Can't see myself. Oh,
I can see you. Do you
okay,
have
okay,
any?
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead then. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for staying with us this far. It's been a long day, and thank you for coming for today. Okay, here I'm here to give us a topic on. I'm here to encourage you to take a step. Yeah, that's going to be my topic for today. I'm here to encourage us to take a step. So, this topic means a whole lot to me because in life, so many times we have this dream, we have this aspiration, we have this dream to maybe become the best dancer, the best cook, or something. But then we still have this fear. We now still have this fear that, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be exceptional? I'm seeing this person that started 2 months ago, the person already winning, and I'm here, I've already started, and there's nothing. The only thing holding you between yourself and the goal is you taking that step. Once you take that step, tell yourself that it is okay. You should learn to breathe. I'm so glad that that Adeze took us through a breathing step strategy. So in everything we do, when we start, especially in our tech journey, because tech opportunities are like everywhere now. If people are sort of like getting intimidated if they are not in the tech field. So by the time you start up, you just see like, this person already is, I'm a data scientist, I'm a data analyst, I'm a cloud engineer, and you're feeling like, I don't even know Python, Oshe. And you now be feeling yourself that I'm not enough, I'm not supposed to be in this place. My dear, it is okay for you to start. Take the step, start where you are. And the only difference between, we have this difference. Someone may be very fast, another may be very slow. We are not the same. We should know that we are not the same. We have various different itineraries, we have different activities we do in the day, we have different family, we have different background, we have various things that bug us. So when you look at another person that has already started something that you were interested in, don't look at yourself that you fail or you are not meant for that. Rather, look at that person as an inspiration. The only person you should compare yourself with is yourself. That brings me to about that's taking the journey. We should dare to take that step, dare to fail. Most times, because we like to be perfect in everything we do, so it's sort of like a human default. We are afraid of failure, so it makes us not be willing to take that step. But when you're not afraid to fail, when you see failure as a feedback, it's a feedback. It's either a yes or no, just like a switch. When you put it on and there's light, it comes on. If there's no light, you don't get a result. So when you see failure as a response, you get to learn from it. You get to see yourself failing. And when you fail, you see yourself that, okay, yeah, this is my feedback. The feedback is not what I wanted, but it is a feedback. It's not you, it's not putting you off. So when we dare to fail, we are actually improving ourselves. But if you fail and you remain where you are, I really love this topic. This saying, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. I try, if you can't imagine it, just try to do it. Sometimes when you put a bucket under a tap, instantly to get filled. But then, if you allow it and it's just drops of water, give it some hours. You see that though it was slow at the beginning, you see when you come back that it already come up, it already filled to an extent. And you'll be wondering, like, this tap is just dropping like this. How come? So if we can put that in our life, in everything we're doing, then we'll be able to grow. If we accept our failures and we accept to be taking steps, even if it's one step every day towards your dream, do not look at yourself, whether it's in 5 years journey, someone made it in 2 months, you're going to make it in 5 years. If God keeps you alive, you're still going to be there in 5 years' time. So imagine yourself that you stopped at year one. You did not allow yourself through that journey because you were afraid that, oh, I'm not making as much progress as this other person. You're comparing yourself when you put two different persons, and that 5 years will come, you see that you've not achieved that thing. But if you continued with that, in that little bit, in what you could do, just ask yourself that no matter what, no matter how sick you are, no matter what, no matter the tech space you're in, no matter if it's learning how to cook, it could be as little as that, learning how to braid or something. Don't tell yourself you practice that thing as little as 5 minutes a day, or even as little as 2 minutes. Just look at it, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Just tell yourself, I'm going to take that step every day, no matter what. If it takes Atinuke 2 months to get her certificate in software engineering and land a gig with Amazon, it may take you 5 years. But the only thing is that you were there. Then that brings me to telling us that you are responsible for yourself. Most times, one of the mistakes we make is that we get to tie our goal to somebody, to our spouses, to our parents, to our friend, or we just look and say, Omotola achieved this. She's the community lead for Shikod Africa, and because of her, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, Omotola may not be in Shikod Africa again. She may be somewhere else, and you will now lose. I made that mistake. I tied my educational goals to my dad. And unfortunately, when I was in SS3, my second term, my dad passed on. and that was it. Like, I was just in school. People were seeing me, I was smiling, but I was not there. Like, I lost it. That was the first time in school I had an F, because I tied that my educational success to my father. I tied, like, he was the one that at the end of each term I would long to go and show my results. So, but after a time, I had to come back to my senses and tell myself, I'm doing this for myself, not for anybody. So when you tell yourself you're doing this, it helps you to keep up taking steps, because we can't avoid it. No matter what, no matter how beautiful the Twitter founder is today, no matter where Jeff Bezos is today, no matter how successful they are, when they started, they had the painful moments. No matter how Omotola is manning today and we are organizing this beautiful program, there was a time She Code Africa didn't have people to attend events. So when we start our journey, for that, with that dream that we have, there are times when it comes and it becomes very painful. So if you're not taking responsibility for yourself, you will give up, you will snap. When you start this, there are so many scholarship opportunities now. Udacity is offering so many. And by the time you start off the program, you will definitely see people, software engineer, this, that, doing the same thing with you, and be like, where am I? Did they pick me from the gutters? I'm learning this. So this man gives me so much inspiration, a whole lot. He had 2 major accidents in his life, and he is still alive. So he had a 66 degree of burn in his body when the first time, and this man is still able to move on. He did not dwell on self-pity. He was still able to make strides and improvements every day of his life. And he is the author of, or he always champions this speech. It is not what happens to you, but what you do about what happens to you that matter. Some of us may not have laptops to work with, but some of us, we have our Android phone. Some of us may not have data. I think one of the things that deters us or holds us back when we are trying to make progress in our day-to-day affairs is that by the time we see, we just keep comparing and we keep dwelling on all the negativities and all the evil things that come. We don't get to see the light. We don't even get to see the little light that we can look up to and just keep taking that step. Just tell yourself the truth. No matter how simple maybe web development is, no matter how simple, let me say, learning HTML is, I would say it's like the easiest one when you're learning how to code. It's a markup language. No matter how easy it is, there's going to be a time it won't make sense to you. So if at that time comes and you don't, and you now say, Omo, I know they do these things, it be like say coding no be for me, and you now hang up. My sister, you see someone that started it maybe 5 years ago, and in five years later, the person that did not give up, that 5 years will come, the person will become very good. And you that gave up because you thought that maybe 5 years is too long to learn something or too long for you to continue, you will now see that yourself, you're nowhere. So these pictures mean a whole lot to me. It's there to remind us that we should accept challenges, accept them as they come. Try to look for ways. When you get frustrated, cry. When you get pissed off, when you get overwhelmed, try to talk to somebody. If you don't get someone to talk to, and if you believe in God, pray about it. If you have someone to share your frustration with, it's not every time that we'll be encouraging you, you can do it, you can be a Python developer, you can do Java. No, there are times that you just have to just talk to that someone that is in tech and say, I beg, tell me how you overcame your challenges. Tell me how you dealt with your depression, your frustrations. Like, it comes, you should expect it. If you're going to start out in tech, you should expect it in whatever you're going to do, if you are going to be exceptional. So before I share the points to take out, we have this rave in Nigeria. We have this light issue. So someone like me, by the time I sit, I always try to look for ways to go about things. So I did this simple thing. See, this is a very long, an extension with a very long cable. Okay, you guys can see. So this, instead of me waiting and dwelling on that, I don't have light, there's no always light, and I don't have generator, or we don't have, well, I met an electrician, do this for me. The only thing simple thing I did was go and meet my neighbors that should be, I beg you put on generator. There are several neighbors that put on generator. I'll be like, okay, please. Because I noticed that it's a challenge. Maybe charging your phone outside or something, you may not be able to study. So my aim is try to look for ways to go about your problem. Then it is okay. Remind yourself that it is not okay to not have everything figured out. Just keep moving. Sometimes what you're doing may not make sense to you, but just keep moving. And at a time, it may make sense. Don't look at how long it's going to take. Just keep. I saw someone made a comment that she's into Python and she's not really, it seems as if she's not making it. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. And with time, it may make sense to you. Embrace change. There are lots of uncertainties. Tomorrow, your phone may break. Tomorrow, your laptop may spoil. Tomorrow, you may move to a different location. Just try to be open-minded, to know how to face your uncertainties, or how to see things in the positive way. And whatever you're learning, do not jump to the big things first. Try to understand the fundamentals. Practice, practice, and practice. Motivate yourself always. Like, by the time you've improved, you should pat yourself on the back and say, yes, you're good. By the time you've even learned how to write hello world with Python or HTML, tell yourself that, yes, you've done well. So make friends, create network. I know Gloria talked about it. That's part of how to brand yourself. When you make friends and create network with those in the same field, it will help you go a long way. So to be great, connect with me on LinkedIn with my name. We'll be able to talk more. Thank you once again for the opportunity. See you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. This section is just like somebody said in the comments. This section is just the best for us to cram everything up. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
And
you.
I would like to add that, just like she said, you should dare to take a step. Dare to take a step. Don't be afraid to fail. The only thing is for you to pick yourself and do it again, right? And be responsible for yourself. Don't wait till when somebody bring that what you're expecting to your text. Go out there and get it for yourself, right? So a lot of people have been asking about Oscar Fest tickets. Yes, SCA will be giving out Oscar Fest tickets. We've been collecting details. So latest by tomorrow, you are going to get a confirmation mail that your application is successful. And see you next week during the event. So we'll be wrapping up this section with some amazing things. Olamide, do you want to tell us more about that?
Yes, we'll be giving out prizes to our early birds, the most engaging participants, and
Yeah,
we'll also be having our feedback session. So I'll
yeah.
start with the early birds. I mean, I saw some people that were even joining the countdown and saying, yes, we are here. Can't wait for this. Someone even said, pass me a popcorn or something. So thank
Yes.
you so much for being punctual. We take punctuality quite seriously. So I'll be listing the names of the early birds. When you hear your name, please send a message to Omotala via the Slack platform. One, we have Oluwabumi Obi Sheson. We have Precious Egbo. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. We have Tega. We have JJ Rains. We have Bakare Jumoke. We have Favor Marachi. We have Mohammed Fauzia. We have Ijeoma Julian and Edith Barido. Thank you so much,
Congratulations, winners.
Elizabeth.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, so before you call the most engaging, and for every event, you need to network, right? I can see a lot of people have been doing that. They've been sharing experience, they've been learning from one another. But before I'll give Olamide that chance to, call out the winners in this regards, I'm going to go back to our IWD challenge. So we stated that we are going to be giving out um, cash gifts to the first three the top three winners. So we have the first position, the second position, and the third position. So the first position is Chineye Anikweze. I'm going to drop. So on IG, Instagram IG handle is LASK. I'm going to drop that in the comment section. Then the second position is Omowu Anuola Ige. Congratulations. And the third winner is Ejim Ada. Congratulations to these three winners. Thank you so much for joining the challenge. We really appreciate you. Olamide, over to you.
All right. So in the course of this event, there were people that were very engaging. They were all in the comment section, contributing, answering questions, sharing their experiences. And I'm so excited to announce that you'll be getting rewarded for that. So to list out the names of the most engaging participants. Again, if you hear your name, please just send a DM to Omotola via Slack channel. One, we have Precious Onyewuchi. I hope she stayed to the end. We have Bakare Jumoke, again, an early bird and an engaging participant. Well done. Then we have Melanie Lucky. So those are the three most engaging participants. Thank you so much for participating actively in this.
So
Over
please,
to you, Omotola.
when you are reaching out, kindly tell me what you like, what section you want. Something, if it's a game, is just indicate that so that it can help on my own end. Okay. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you've learned one or two things. We would like to hear back from you. So, this is just a brief feedback section. Let's know how you feel, what you feel about the event. Did you learn anything at all? Like, let me see it in the comments. Did you learn anything at all? Did you have anything to take back home? Is there any take home for you? What's your take home? Would love to hear from you. What do you think about the whole event? How do you let's hear you in the comment section. And you can share using any social media platform of your choice. Just remember to use the hashtag and tag She Could Africa so that we can see your comments. So you can just keep that going.
While we wrap up, thank you, everybody. Thanks to the attendees, thanks to the speakers, thanks to the team members that put this together, thanks to Ada, the founder of She Could Africa. Thanks to everyone that's attended today, and special shout out to my co-host Omotala. Thank you so much for making this an amazing session. All right.
Thank you so much, Olamide. You too. Like you are so wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, so we have come to the end
So
of
before
this
we
event.
before we drop this banner, I would like to say once again that if you are not on the SCA community, there are a lot of things going on. And if you are there, you seems not to understand how to navigate. Kindly read the community guideline. You can go to the introduction channel to read that. If you have any clarification that you need, please reach out to myself or Amarachi, the community managers. We are so we are happy to answer your question and to help you. So don't wait till when somebody bring, like bring the what you want to your table. Go out for it. Look for opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities going on, being shared in there. Grab it and sell yourself. If you know of any skills, if you are good at anything, sell yourself out there. Thank you so much once again, everyone. Thank you, Olamide. See you
Thank you,
next.
Omotala. All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye, guys.
Bye.